Once again, it's time! Wah! Get hyped, get psyched, get pumped, get on the fucking jump in the lava. It is time for the Rage Select podcast right here on Rage Select, and I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
I was nauseous like 30 minutes ago, and I got over it. Now I think doing that might have made me a little nauseous again.
You went a little bit overboard.
That's all right. Yep.
Kind of too much.
Nope. We're going to push on through, break on through to the other side, because god damn, we have a loaded. I got stuff to talk about. We got a lot of stuff.
We have a load, people.
We have news. I got a load, and it's got to go somewhere. It's got to go somewhere, so get ready. Put on your rain slicker. I don't know. That's gross. Yes, we have a lot to talk about this week. Specifically, I'd like to thank EA for giving us all the things to talk about. Before we get to EA, we had a nice surprise. I didn't see this one coming. Trailer for Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
A nice teaser. Very much a teaser.
It was very few trailer-esque stuff, but it was mostly Deadpool being Bob Ross,
which was amazing.
On like cocaine.
It was great. It's right around to the Deadpool costume, wearing Bob Ross outfit and a big afro wig. I like all the colors of the paints. I like the one part where he just like there's a bunch of stuff on the screen and he turns around and he's just like yeah, I think that I don't have a lot to say about this outside of just gushing about how much I like it. What I think I will say though is that I think that this shows that the Deadpool probably has not sold out for Deadpool 2, because this is bizarre, and I feel like just a regular old person who's like, what's this trailer for this new movie? Be like, what am I watching? And the rest of us are just like, yeah, man, fucking Bob Ross on cocaine. It's Deadpool. I don't know, John. Did you have any, I don't even know what there is to say about it.
Yeah, I don't even know what to add to it. I think it looks great. I think the clips you see in the thing, there's a time where Deadpool has a chainsaw. Yep. There's Deadpool sitting up from a coffin.
Yep, there's full on Hitman style.
Yeah. I'm all on board. I don't need to see any more. I will probably continue to watch trailers that do something stupid like this.
Yes.
With them, but if they're just standard full on trailers, I'll probably ignore them because I just want to see the movie.
Yeah. I think it was really good. You know what? The first one was just like that announcement trailer, right? Yeah. Of just him trying to get his costume on and he couldn't do it fast enough. I like everything that I'm seeing in here. I'm really curious to see how Cable fits into this, because Cable implies a bigger storyline than just this. One thing I will say is that at the very end, I didn't actually even notice this until right now. When you look at this table, wait, is that Monica Baccarin there?
Who?
The love interest from the first movie.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I didn't see her in any of the clips in the trailer.
She's in one of them.
She's in
very
one of them?
quick.
Oh, okay.
It's very quick.
I thought I went frame by frame, but anyway. Yeah, this looks great. I can't wait. When is it? This is next year?
Yeah,
obviously?
I think they only just recently finished filming.
Okay. Still, Deadpool 1 was such a breath of fresh air and so good that I just can't wait. I think it was great. Speaking of things that are great, John, I am so happy. I am busting at the seams. So all this year, I've been going out and watching these new movies in the theater, Wonder Woman, Blade Runner, all these, and I've just been like,
I haven't seen any of those.
It's too long, or I don't really like it, or I don't see what people are talking about.
I fail.
Yeah. Spider-Man, I
saw Spider-Man. That was good. I liked it.
I was like, I think it was fine. It just wasn't blowing my socks off. But last week, I watched Thor Ragnarok, and it blew my socks off. I don't have socks anymore. I put them back on. I'm wearing them now, obviously. But
okay.
No, I saw it, and I really, really, really liked it.
Good.
And that's saying something, considering that Thor and Thor 2 are probably some of my least favorite of the Marvel movies.
Yeah, it's a lot of people's least favorites.
Thor 2, I don't think anybody's going to sit here and tell me that movie was really good, because it was just kind of a weird, dark mess.
I don't think it was bad. I just don't think it was...
Yeah. And Thor 1 was real cliche. Yeah. In a real cliche plot of... You know, oh, I'm such a great guy. Oh, your hubris will be your downfall. Oh, your powers have been taken away. Look inside and find the... I mean, like, oh, God.
Well, that's the plot of Thor.
Right.
That's like every other plot of the comics and Thor. I mean, that's even the plot right now in the comics. It's been going on for the last I don't know how many years.
It's also kind of the plot of Thor Ragnarok. I mean, just no spoilers or anything, but this was done in such a way is everything that I hoped for from the trailer of like this wackadoo other kind of Jack Kirby, like we're getting off of Asgard and all that stuff. Hela was great. I do agree, though. Mr. C. Robert Cargill on Twitter put forth a thing, and for anybody who hasn't seen a trailer for the movie or is staying pure, I don't really know why you're listening to this, but if you are, skip ahead a minute or two. But like, I think it would have been incredible if they could have just stopped themselves from putting Hulk in the trailers, because there's not a whiff of that character up until the point in the trailer that we've seen.
Yeah.
And then he gets into the arena and, you've seen the trailer, so you're like, I know what's coming. I know what's, because all the champion is ruling over everybody, the champion. And like, how awesome would it have been if you went to go see this movie? I don't think he's on the poster, is he?
Yeah.
Is he on the poster?
Yeah,
okay.
He's in all the marketing.
I wish that they could have kept that under wraps, because that would have been just like what? And then like also Hulk. But I liked everybody. Jeff Goldblum was great. Kate Blanchett was amazing. Fucking Carl Urban's in that movie.
Yeah.
He's a weird thing. There's this one character that's like an alien who just shows up a few times, and I was like, that guy's awesome. Other thing is a little over 2 hours. I didn't feel it at all. Like, it just kept moving and moving and moving. It reminded me of when I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 1, which is amazing because Thor, Loki, Hulk, all these characters, I know all those characters, right? So you didn't have the advantage, you didn't have the home court advantage of introducing me to new characters, and then I'm like, ooh, fascinating, a new character. What's their deal? What are they all about? But no, it was great, and I think that it's totally worth watching in the theater too, because it's all.
Yeah, Amanda said that she's wanting to break down and finally go see it, so we're probably going to go see it soon.
Good use of music. I don't know if you know this, but like Mark Mothsbaum, I think that's how you say it, does the music. I don't know if you know him. He's the lead guy from Devo, who did all of the like instrumental stuff in Wes Anderson movies.
Yeah.
Great, kind of like a weird synth pop type of stuff that fits perfectly with the kind of outer space cosmic nature of it. I just thought it was. I have one issue. It's a very funny movie. It's a lot, but it doesn't feel as. There are a lot of people who don't like that movie because of the tonal shift from like serious Thor shit to like quippy humor stuff, and I can understand that because Marvel, in my opinion, is a little bit too quick on the quip. They're a little bit too quick to make their characters all Joss Whedon rapid fire back and forth. Yeah. And there were like 2 or 3 points in the movie where they undercut what could have been a very serious or dramatic moment with a joke, where I would have rather just had them let the drama stand and just not throw in. It's kind of like you can make this argument. You know that scene in Avengers when Hulk and Thor are standing next to each other, and then Hulk just punches Thor out of nowhere, like out the wall or whatever.
Yeah.
Like if that moment would have been slightly different if that hadn't happened, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that, but it's a little bit more egregious because there's some weird cosmic stuff that happens in that movie, and so great. Anyway, that is 10 minutes, and that's great because we have a lot to cover. I assume that our first story is going to be probably the biggest thing. We're probably going to go way over time. Let's talk a little bit about Star Wars Battlefront 2 and Electronic Arts. So let's just
haven't heard of it.
Good. I'm glad I get to get a fresh,
never heard of it.
A fresh opinion.
What is that? What is a Star Wars?
Yeah. What is? Okay, we're going that far back. Star Wars
video games. What's that?
Is a story about an ancient wizard from another planet who has a flashlight that he kills people with. It's about a bunch of religious terrorists who blow up a government facility. Yeah.
Over and over and over again.
Like at least twice. Okay, so
technically 3 times, if you count the new trilogy.
Oh, yep. Well, the First Order though, they aren't like a government. They're just.
Are you sure?
I think they're just a paramilitary group. I don't know.
Anyway. I don't know what the.
All right, so let's run down the timeline a little bit, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah,
okay.
Of course.
So, Star Wars. Actually, one brief comment before we get into this.
Okay.
I think that EA's idea of giving people early access to their video games has so far been a really bad idea, because Mass Effect Andromeda littered the internet with bug gifs of fucked up characters way before the game came out. Okay, so if you're part of the EA Access program, so in shit-ass EA fashion, Star Wars Battlefront was going to come out on Friday. If you pre-ordered it, you got early access to it, even though it's not really early access to it, on Tuesday. If you're part of the EA Access program, I think you got access to it as early as
the previous
Sunday.
Oh, I thought it was the previous Friday.
For like 10 hours or whatever. They have that time limit on it where you can only play it for a certain amount of time. Okay, so what people found out in that time was that you pay $60 for this game. Star Wars game. In the game, you build up points in a multiplayer match. You can use those points to summon essentially a hero into the game, right?
Yes.
Okay. You got everybody from the whole series. Every Jedi that's ever done Jedi is in there, from Kylo Ren to Darth Vader and all up and down again. You also have a thing where when you win matches, you get these credits, and the credits can be used to unlock various things throughout the game. So originally, the price of Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, who are the most expensive characters in a game, was 75,000 credits. A Reddit user did the math.
This is the credits to unlock them to be able to have the ability to use them in the multiplayer when you accrue enough points to actually use a special character.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make sure that we stay on board with points, credits, crystals. Crystals are real world currency. Credits are things you earn per match. I'm going to say right now that in playing Star Wars Battlefront 2, I've earned about 300 per match. Like, that's a whole match. Sometimes a little bit more. Yeah. But there's also achievements that you can hit that'll give you like a little 200 credits or whatever.
I think you can also get credits from loot boxes and things like that as well.
Okay, so let's just be real clear about this because it factors in stuff. So the way that works is if you buy a loot box and you get a card that you already own, you can break that down into crystal or into currency, into
credits.
Credits, yes. Points are what you earn inside of the match in order to spawn as Darth Vader, right? It used to be that you would just find a card and you would spawn as that Jedi. But when you get the base game, I think that like there's a bottom tier of like 5 or 6 heroes. It's like Lando and Bosk and some of the heroes that are lower on the tier who come unlocked by default. But it's 5,000 for the Salsa Verde, the main character of the game, and then it's like 10,000 for Leia, Chewbacca.
I appreciate that you call her Salsa Verde.
Ilston Verblup, I don't remember, and the Emperor, and then right, this is right now, and then it's 15,000 for Luke and Darth Vader. But when they started, it was 75,000 for Luke and Darth Vader. A Reddit user did the average credit math on this, and realized that it would take 40 hours of online play per 15,000 credits to unlock Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker. So you paid $60 for a game, and then this game is going to want you to grind in their multiplayer for 40 hours. 40 hours of multiplayer for one of them, 80 hours for two, etc., etc. So they went on to Reddit. Those people went on to Reddit, posted about this. People were complaining about it, and there was a statement. I'm just going to read the statement. This is from the EA community team. The intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. As for cost, we selected initial values based upon data from the open beta and other adjustments made to milestone rewards before launch. Among other things, we're looking at average per-player credit earn rates on a daily basis, and we'll be making constant adjustments to ensure that players have challenges that are compelling, rewarding, and, of course, attainable via gameplay. We appreciate the candid feedback and passion the community has put forth around the current topics here on Reddit, on forums, and across numerous social media outlets. Our team will continue to make changes and monitor community activity and update everyone as soon and as often as we can. Which became the most downvoted comment ever in the history of all of Reddit.
Yes.
Last time I checked, it was 460,000. I'm pretty sure it's beyond that at this point. Actually, I think I pulled it up. What is it at right now? 148,000? No? Okay, I don't know. Anyway, it's fluctuated, but it became the most downvoted thing on Reddit. I think that this particular statement is a little weird because they based the rates on like what the hardcore pre-order people were doing in the beta, which seems a little strange. But anyway, we'll come back to that. So then EA changed it. They changed it so that Instead of 75,000, they're now 15,000 for Vader and Luke. And also they lowered it for everybody else. I'm pretty sure that they were that high for everybody else as well. They also sneakily, when you beat the main story mode in the game, you would get a loot box. Everything that you do in the game gives you a box. Like, they never give you just a bonus. You have to, like, claim your reward and then go open a loot box to get the thing for doing anything. Like, beat level 4 in the single-player campaign. Yeah. So, pre this adjustment, you got 20,000 credits for beating the single-player game to spend as you please. Now you get 5, if I'm not mistaken.
5,000?
5,000, okay. Yes. No, 5 credits.
Yeah, I was about to be, I was like, let's clarify that real quick.
They dramatically adjusted. No. So now you get 5,000 credits, which, just for the sake of all of this, for anybody that's following, a single loot crate, just a regular standard loot box, cost 4,000 credits. But it's also worth noting that unlocks cost credits, crates cost credits, lots of stuff cost no, wait, those are the two things. Unlocks cost credits and crates cost credits.
Yes.
So they dropped all of that. And
so not only did they lower how much it costs to unlock those characters, but they lowered how many credits you earn just by playing the game.
Yes. So that happened. From there, this is the story about them lowering the thing. From there, we had a few other little sprinkles to add in, and then we can talk about what we think about this. There was a UBS Global Technology Conference 2017 in San Francisco, and this is a Dual Shockers article that I'm reading off of that's got a lot of, like, quotes pulled out of this guy's statement. This is from Chief Financial Officer Blake Jorgensen talking about Battlefront 2, but he has a bunch of different things that I think are just kind of worth noting. He said, I'm just going to read from the article here. Jorgensen admitted there had been a lot of chatter about microtransactions in the game. Let's see. The important thing is giving them feedback. He says the live service is all about constantly watching, listening to, and reacting to community to try to develop great gameplay. And then he says, quote, people need to be patient, but also really understand. And they go on to be like, we're trying to tune this. We're listening to the community. We're taking your feedback into consideration, all this stuff. And this also lines up with, apparently there was an AMA on Reddit that had a bunch of different quotes from some of the developers. I'm going to read from a few of these.
It was a lot. I'm going to say this before you read them.
Yeah.
It's a lot of vague corporate
BS.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Sorry. I forgot to mention the other thing that is incredibly unconscionable.
Yeah.
There are single-player challenges that you can do that you will earn a minuscule number of credits. 100 credits per 2 or 3 minute challenge, which honestly, as somebody who has Battlefront 2 installed on a PS Pro on a hard drive, the load times can almost be as long as each one of those individual missions is, and you earn about 100 credits for doing those missions, at least the first tier ones. I can't speak for the other ones. But somehow, I know why. They have it so that once you hit 500 credits, you're locked out for a day from getting any more credits. You can still play those modes, but you just cannot earn any more credits. In asked about that, one of the quotes was, as we want to let players earn credits offline via a more relaxed game mode, we need to also find a way to make sure it wouldn't be exploited in a way that would impact multiplayer. Because of that, we made the decision to limit the number of credits earned to stop potential abuse. We'll be looking at data continuously and make adjustments to make things as balanced as possible. Another question came in about what is the reasoning behind loot boxes affecting gameplay? Is it too late to make a change to the system? One of the other design directors said, nothing is too late. As you've noticed, we weren't able to get the customization. Oh, they were talking about cosmetic changes.
Yeah, why are there so few cosmetics and so many actual gameplay affecting things in the loot boxes?
Yes. We weren't able to get customization into the game in time for launch. I'm actually having artists and designers walk up today showing me cosmetic stuff that they really want to get out there. I think we have probably the best-looking clone troopers, blah, 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 blah. We're going to try to get it in there. on how long it takes to unlock rewards. One of them said, we've seen the speculation about how long it takes players to earn things, but our averages based on the Play First trial are much faster than what's out there. But as more players come in, that could change. We're committed to making progress and a fun experience for all our players. Nothing should feel unattainable, and if it does, we'll do what it takes to make sure it's both fun and achievable as we update and expand arcade mode, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm not going to go into this too much. You guys can go read those.
The AMA, for the most part, for those wondering, it was just a lot of vague answers about things, and you know, they really it was, so it's like they did the AMA to kind of get in front of this, but then they didn't actually answer any of the questions that would need actual answers, and the ones they did answer were so vague that it was like, then why the fuck did you do this AMA?
Yeah, like one of the things about the crate system. Let's see. We're going to continue adjusting the crate system's content and progression mechanics to hit a point that gives players a great balanced experience at all skill levels. We're working on expanding the number of ways that players can progress, putting more control in their hands, and providing more options and choice in the way people play. There's not much in the game that we wouldn't revisit to improve the game for as many players as possible. So a lot of this, between the cosmetic stuff, between tuning this stuff, between all this shit, to me, it's just like you needed this game to hit launch date. Like, the beta apparently did nothing to tell you anything, because apparently what's real weird about this is the fact that, like, they're like, oh, well, we're committed to continuing to tune this experience to try to make it a good experience, but people are already spending money on it. Like, what if what you get to at the end of the day, what if once you finish tuning this experience, it's a bad experience? Like, anyway, so that's the whole saga as it is to date. John, your thoughts?
So, and this is kind of a thing for me. Like, a lot of the stuff I'm hearing about it, a lot of stuff I've seen. I played the beta. I actually didn't like it.
Yeah.
I actually did not like that. And that actually made this game and not being, like, the first Battlefront, like, I played the beta and I went, I want to own this game. Mm-hmm. And I loved, and I didn't buy it, but you know, it was one of those things that other things came out that I wanted more, and then I borrowed the game from you, and then I was like, okay, well, I got what I wanted out of it. But like this game, I played the beta, and I immediately knew I don't want this game. I don't care. The story mode can be the best story mode in the history of story modes.
Ooh, it's not.
I'm just saying, it could be the best story mode in the history of story modes. The beta told me I'm not going to buy the game.
Yeah.
I'll maybe borrow it from. Well, you got it digitally. Never mind. I was.
You guys didn't see the dismissive wave at me that John did. You pre-order sack of garbage.
Well, it dawned on me very late that you bought it digitally. But But my thought was, if you had bought a physical copy, I'd probably just borrow it from you and then just never think twice about it. Mm-hmm. So this game is not for me. Sure. Just like I didn't like the unlock system that was in the beta. I felt it felt off. I liked the fact that in the previous version, only one person could be a hero at a time, and anyone could essentially be that hero. Like, you just had to find the icon on the map.
Well, to be clear, you can't have more than one Yoda on the map at a time.
Oh, they fixed that.
Yes.
Because in the beta, I went up in a match where our team was fighting up against 6 Darth Mauls.
Oh, okay. Well, yes. Once one of those has been chosen, you cannot choose that same hero. Even in the heroes versus villains, it's like, one person chooses Luke, nobody else chooses Luke.
Yeah, like I played in the beta, and I went in a match where I fought up against 6 Darth Mauls. And I was like, oh, go fuck yourself.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's Darth Maul all the time.
Everyone was Darth Maul. And our team was sucking, and I came in the match like midway.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, that team is obviously really good because they got the points, and they all got, they got enough points to unlock, to be those characters.
Right.
And our team was just getting slaughtered.
Yeah.
And our team was not getting to be any of the heroes because we weren't accumulating enough points in the game to allow us to pick those. Yeah. And it was just like, okay, I don't care. I honestly, I don't fucking care. Like, I'm already frustrated. I'm not buying this game. And then now all this bullshit. Now all this stuff. And my thought is, it's like, I'm halfway of like, well, a lot of that is stupid. Like, they shouldn't have done the AMA. And not from they made things worse.
Yeah.
But they didn't accomplish anything.
Yes.
They shouldn't, if they were going to do the AMA, they should have gone in there and actually said, hey, we fucked up.
Yeah.
we understand this. We like actually had come in there and said, hey, we had done something wrong, or hey, it's going to take, like, I know they were saying, oh, it takes time to fix things, and that is what they said, but they should have said, we realize we are fixing it. We don't know, maybe we don't know the answer yet.
Yeah.
But just be honest, and instead what it came off as like, you people are upset for no reason, but we're working on it and looking into it. But really, it's
well, that earnings call interview where the guy was like, players just need to give us some time to work this out, and it's like, no, I spent $60 on a video game. Like, I don't like to pull that card out, but I'm pulling that card out.
Yeah.
You don't get to beta test Star Wars Battlefront 2 on me after the official launch date. This should have been figured out beforehand.
And so like, I mean, I'm and a lot of the outrage for this, I feel, is from a community of the fans and the people who buy games. A lot of the outrage is not because of this game. It's because of multiple games that have been doing.
This is the last straw.
This was the straw. This was the thing that went, you know what? Nope, it's too much.
After Assassin's Creed, after Forza.
I think if Forza, Assassin's Creed, I haven't played NBA,
WWE 2K18.
If all the Loot Crate stuff, the
Call of Duty,
the Shadow of War, if all that stuff had never happened, and this was the first one, while there would be some outrage, I don't think it would be as strong.
Yep.
But because of all of that has come within a month or two, not only, like, not even like over time, like within the last month, everyone's like, no, we are putting our foot in the ground.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's, you know what, this is, if that's what needs to be, that needs to be voiced. The problem, all of that voicing means dog shit.
Yeah.
If everyone goes and buys the game and everyone goes online and buys those loot boxes.
Sure.
Because that's what they're going to look at. They're going to look at, you know what? People bitched about us. They put us as the most downvoted thing on Reddit. But you know what? We still made more on sales for Battlefront 2 after all of that stuff happened than we anticipated. And people are still buying the loot boxes with real money in droves. So, you know what?
Also, if you lose 30% of your sales, but you make 40% extra profit off of loot boxes than you would have made before, you know what? That's a win. That's 10% more than you would have made otherwise.
That's
right?
basically saying that, we'll bitch, but we'll still buy it anyway.
Yes.
Which is, again, why I'm not buying the game.
Yeah. Which I think that...
That's why I didn't buy Shadow of War.
Yep. I was talking about this before, but here's another thing that I didn't anticipate that I do now is upsetting to me, is when you get killed in Star Wars Battlefront 2, you get to see what the loadout of the person who killed you was, which is unnecessary, but like I feel like is a way to show you, hey, look at all these purple star cards that they're using. And whenever I see somebody with a rare star card, I'm like, oh, you bought that. Like because you can kind of do the math, right? Like if this person is level 10,
well, I mean, the loot boxes are random. They could have gotten something randomly, and
it's true, but it still really sticks in your craw about like you probably ended up buying this. I don't know. To me, I beat the single player. I played the multiplayer. In the second half, we're going to do a review of it, but I want to lay out. Nope, that's part of the questions. I don't know. I think that EA is. I think what you said is correct. I think that EA has pushed it too far. That selling you a $60 game and then asking you to do, and it would be less cynical if everything had to be unlocked, right? Like if all of the special heroes were unlocked, and then all of the half of the vehicles, right? If by default you could fly a TIE fighter, but you couldn't fly Kylo Ren's ship, right? Or you could spawn as an assault trooper, but you had to unlock the Wookiee assault that you can get for 2,000 in-game points, right? It would be one thing if there was a very clear progression for doing that, but when you open up this game and Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader are the ones that are locked behind the most credits.
Well, it goes back to...
It's so cynical. You just know that it's because they know that those are the ones you want to play as, right?
And this goes back to the whole thing of... I got into an argument with someone, and then he brought up the fact that I really love Overwatch. Yeah. He's like, you paid $60 for Overwatch,
sure
and
did.
That has loot boxes. Like, yeah, but it doesn't... It's all cosmetic. Every character I get, it's unlocked. I don't have to do any... I don't have to do any... It's like, well, you can't unlock character. It's like, well, you can't get characters characters from the crates in Battlefront, so why are you bitching? I was like,
you get credits.
But I still have to unlock them.
Yeah. Yep.
They are still locked behind a wall. And while you cannot spend real money to unlock those, you can spend real money to get crates. And in situations like what you said, where you get cards you already have, you can convert those to credits.
Yep.
And then use those credits to unlock those. So indirectly, yes, you can fucking pay money. Now, someone did the math, and apparently it's like over, like, to be able to, like, if you unlocked all the cards in the game and then started paying for loot boxes, it would take about a little over $2,000 to unlock everything in the game using just that mechanic. So it's not as feasible, but you can still fucking do it.
You know what? I want to like, I just want to back this up, okay? Because one of the things that I feel like is we've seen multiplayer games do this well.
Yeah.
You play Battlefield 1, you want to be in the assault class. You play as the assault class, you're going to build up cash that you can use to unlock a new gun. You're going to use the same gun that you can use to unlock attachments on that gun. That system is in there. But it's this whole hero unlock and then the 3-star cards that you can equip, and then your individual class ranks up, but then you have a player rank that factors into it. So you're trying to... There's also parts that you get that you can use to craft cards and upgrade cards, and those... But you can't craft a level 2 card until you've got at least level 10 in the, or at least level 8 to 10 in the assault class. Like, okay, you make a card, right? It's a level 1 card. The cards have 5 tiers, and you could craft the new cards, right?
Yeah.
With parts. Okay, so I've got level 1 of this one perk that gives me like 5% extra battle points when I'm in the game, because I like to do the heroes and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I don't need a grenade launcher. I would like to do the heroes more often. To get to level 2, you have to spend the parts, but then you have to play the assault class up to level 10, and then you have to play your class, like your overall unlock class of Jeff in playing the game, also up to level 10. And then when you do that, then you can upgrade cards to level 2 if you have the... It's too
much.
Convoluted.
Yeah.
It's too fucking much. Like, you let me use credits to buy card upgrades. Why does there have to be a separate economy for parts? Parts? Where do I get parts? Like, I get parts out of crates. Okay. So I get parts from doing achievements with various classes and also with crates. It's just, I'm sitting here trying to explain this, and it's like, I'm understanding that, like, when I'm playing it, it took me like a few hours to figure out what the fuck all this shit was. It's too much. Just give me a level. I've got a level. My level determines who I'm matched up with in multiplayer. Let me unlock stuff by progressing, by playing. If I play the assault trooper and I keep to get kills the assault trooper, then I get a better gun for the assault trooper, or I get attachments for that gun, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I want to use the one that gives me more points, let me put that card in, and then let me...
But everything is so convoluted and so very clearly geared to make you want the loot crates or the loot boxes, so then you have to do things to earn the loot boxes and then get frustrated because you're not earning enough to get the loot boxes, so that maybe you'll go online and pay real money to buy loot boxes to do all these things.
Yeah, I had enough credits to unlock everybody except for Luke and Darth Vader, and I think maybe one of the other characters. And I'm now saving up credits to do that, when I'd rather be spending those credits. I'd even buy the loot boxes with credits to get, also... It's worth noting that half the shit that comes in the loot boxes are emotes, right? Like, every character has a whole shitload of emotes, so they can throw one of those garbage pieces in there. Like, I got a light side crate for doing all the tier 1 arcade missions, and it had 2 Chewbacca emotes in it, and I was like, yay? I mean, I don't know. The whole thing just is too fiddly. It's too fucking convoluted. And this is a preview for when we get to the next part, I feel like it brings the game down. I feel like there is a good game in there. There's a good multiplayer Battlefield, but Star Wars with all the stuff that you want in there, but it's just too everywhere. It's just too all over the place. Yeah. Which is saying something, because, like, Battlefield 1 is a convoluted game with all the different classes and, like, the vehicles that you can drive and the various points and the way that you go back and forth with them. But anyway... So, now that we've spent roughly half our time talking about EA. Let's talk about EA. Because the other thing that EA did was they bought Respawn. Or let's be clear here. They acquired Respawn. Respawn had a thing in their contract with EA that if another company tried to acquire Respawn, EA basically got an opportunity to swoop in and acquire them first.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened.
So what, Activision tried to buy them?
Actually, I don't know. I don't think it was Activision. I think it was, let's see. It was a weird company. Man, I gotta find out who tried to buy them, because it was another weird company. It was like some off the wall place that had enough investment capital to be able to do it. But EA bought Respawn. So do you want to start the timer now, John? What do you think? They got 5 years before EA
shuts them down?
Probably. Forces them to create a bunch of stuff that nobody likes and then shuts them down. Titanfall 3 has loot boxes, and whatever that Star Wars game they're working on sucks. And then, well, we just can't have a studio around that isn't profitable. And then they're cut down. Or they finish Titanfall 3 and they're just like axed anyway, because, I mean, like, we remember, right? I mean, Visceral was what, last week, 2 weeks ago? But like, you know, Origin, Bullfrog, who were the guys that made Tony Hawk Underground?
Yeah.
Like, EA's a killer, man. They acquire you, and then like 2 years later, you're done.
Visceral, man. I'm still bitter about that.
Which one?
Visceral.
Oh, yeah. No,
they just got, I mean,
this
you
was just
brought
saying,
that up. I was like, I'm still upset about Visceral, man.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. Because it didn't seem like Visceral was really super into doing the single player for Battlefield Hardline, which I feel like was, I don't know. You could totally post in the comments. I'm a little jacked up on all kinds of caffeine today, so you let me know if I'm talking out my ass here. But like, the Battlefield Hardline seemed like the sort of thing that was like a mandate that ended up happening that nobody was super excited about.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I didn't know anybody who even really played the multiplayer for that.
Also, you know, there's the whole thing about, you know, going back to Visceral, the EA's mandates fucked over Dead Space 3.
Oh, with the microtransactions.
Well, not just that. They forced them to make changes constantly to that game.
Yeah.
Like, the EA mandated that it had to be the co-op thing. Like, that was an EA mandate. Like, that, like, everything wrong with Dead Space 3 was a mandate from EA.
Yeah.
According to stuff I've read.
So let's close out this segment by saying,
sorry, Respawn.
I'm not going to say fuck. I'm not going to say fuck EA. What I'm going to say is that we need to remember this. Don't forget. Like, if you haven't been paying attention, don't forget what EA did here. Like, the next time when they show Anthem at E3 next year and it looks fucking great, don't pre-order it. Please don't pre-order it. Please don't pre-order it.
I apparently am in the minority that don't think that the first trailer looked good. Or the first stuff looked good.
No, I know, but
it looked like Destiny, but with mechs, and fuck that noise.
You know, if they show you a new Battlefield, if they show you a trailer for a new Battlefield next year at E3, please don't pre-order it. When they show this Respawn Star Wars game, and you're a huge fan of Star Wars because the new movie was good, and all this stuff is happening, and you're really excited about Star Wars, just don't pre-order it. Give yourself the option that if it comes out, wait for 2 days after it comes out, watch channels, you know, watch YouTube channels or Twitch streamers or whatever. Wait and see if this shit's any good before you buy it. Just, that's all that I want to say. That's all that I really want to say, because I got some more to say later, but like, just remember this. Let this be your Aliens Colonial Marines for EA and for Star Wars. Remember this and keep it in mind the next time that you see a hype as fuck trailer that EA put out that looks really good, because there's going to be another one and another one and another one and another one, but they don't have a very good track record. And so, but and last but certainly not least, to be fair, they, as you pointed out, they are not the only one doing this shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, fucking Assassin's Creed.
2K basically saying that all of their games going forward will have microtransactions.
Yep.
Even though they're calling them something other than microtransactions.
Yep. You can bet your sweet Bippy you're going to see this shit from Ubisoft. You see it from Activision. You're going to see it in a lot of places until something happens. And you know what? One thing that could happen is the Belgian Gaming Commission. So the Belgian Gaming Commission is basically the government entity that oversees games of chance in Belgium.
Yes.
And they are currently looking into Overwatch and Star Wars Battlefront 2 because like the ESA declared that loot boxes are not gambling because
here in the US,
right? But this is not to say that in other places in the world, if this shit gets too out of hand.
Oh, it already Overwatch got hit in China.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. That's the thing is that, and let me just be perfectly clear about this. I don't want this to happen. None of us want this to happen. None of us want government intervention into video game stuff.
Yeah.
But if this industry puts people in a position where mommy buys a $60 game for their kid, and then their kid asks for their credit card and spends another $150 on the game they've already spent $60 on. Yeah, right? Like that's the sort of thing that ends up getting parents groups involved, and then they get all like, well, why is this happening? And then like, we need a law. Like this is the kind of bullshit that will eventually get government intervention, which we don't want. We do not want that to happen. I don't want
probably
that to
see
happen.
Jack Thompson come back in the news.
Jack Thompson got disbarred, motherfucker. Plus he was like, all he cared about was violence, right?
Yeah.
And sex. I bet Jack Thompson's a great capitalist who has been more than happy to have
I've actually met him. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, you explained that.
I met him.
We told that story a while back.
Yeah. He's actually kind of a nice dude.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he puts it on for the camera.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is something to keep an eye on, and yeah. So whereas the ESA said that gambling, their idea of gambling is a situation where you can put money in and then lose and not get anything. So their idea was that because when you put money into loot crates, what you get back, you get something.
Yeah.
If it's bad, you get a thing. It's, I guess, the same reason why you wouldn't consider, the little capsule games at the like at the front of a store. That's not gambling because you get something. It may be garbage, but you still get something. Whereas in a quote from the Belgian Commission, they basically said that that the idea here is that it depends on luck. And so the quote here is, therein lies the problem. It depends on luck, and at that point, you're gambling. If we're dealing with a game of chance, they need to have a permit, essentially. This is what the companies would need to basically be licensed as gambling institutions in order to be able to do this. So from there, let's go to some better stuff.
I'm all down for better stuff.
I got a bad chunk of stuff kind of towards the end, but
that's fine.
Let's do some good stuff in between.
I'm all for good stuff.
A lot of rage. Gifting is now available on the Xbox just in time for the holidays.
I'm actually excited about that.
Yeah, you can.
Not that I'm actually going to gift anyone anything, but I'm excited that people could gift me things.
It's interesting.
Not that anyone actually would.
Going to back to last week, somebody wrote in asking if they should buy a PS4, a Switch, or an Xbox One. Amanda and I talked for a while. I'm pretty pro PS4, but I really do like this as a thing.
I think I'm pretty much as much as Xbox One is my console of choice.
Yeah.
It is like the pride. I would probably say get a PS4.
Well, but this is nice.
But this is nice. I think this is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just now Microsoft needs to work on them exclusives.
Yeah. Yeah, especially considering that
I don't even care if it's exclusive to Xbox and Windows 10. I don't care about that. That's fine. But get some shit that's not on the PS4.
Did I tell you, eagle-eyed users of Rage Select may have noticed a conspicuous absence of Super Lucky's Tale?
Yeah.
It's because you can buy Super Lucky's Tale on the Xbox. You can buy Super Lucky's Tale on Windows 10 through the Microsoft Store. You cannot buy Super Lucky's Tale on Steam, and I'm not really about that. That's not a big enough exclusive. But anyway, this is actually interesting.
Yeah, but it's a good thing.
I feel like if you had one of the things that we said was The backwards compatibility on the Xbox One X makes it like maybe a good first timer console.
Yeah.
Because one, you can gift people stuff when they're on sale. Like you can buy stuff of the website and just be like, "Hey, Jimmy, here's." And
I'm wondering, like if I buy something, if I have games with gold, and I see that there's a game on sale for people with games with gold.
Yeah.
Can I buy that? If I buy that at my discount and then gift that to somebody who doesn't have.
That's a good question. I don't think that this is actually.
I mean, I don't think that that's. I think that they would totally allow that because you have games with gold. You're buying it. You should get the discount.
Right.
But you're gifting it to someone. That's actually a good incentive for.
Yeah. What would be really cool is if you got the free games and you already own that game. If you could gift your free game to somebody else.
I don't think they won't do that.
I know. There's no way.
There's no way in hell they would do that. There's no way in hell they would do that.
So yeah, if you're that's another another point in the Xbox column. I don't know that I haven't seen anything this week about One X's or having problems or anything. I
feel like when it comes to the Xbox One X hardware, it's a good deal. It's 4K. It's good.
Yeah.
When it comes to stuff like the gifting and the backwards compatibility, they're doing like really bang up job, just better than everyone else.
Sure.
But it all comes back to games for the current console.
If all you're playing is third-party, everybody plays games, like because I'm sure there are plenty of people out there like that, right? Who are playing Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty and Battlefront, and like I'm looking at the games that are on my list here: Hitman, Evil Within 2, Need for Speed Payback. All these are available on the Xbox One. But if you want this crazy fucking fish blasting game, Ace of Seafood, that is already on Steam, you're probably not going to be getting that on the Xbox, and as well as a lot of the exclusives, and then also VR.
Microsoft has been kind of Hand of Fate 2 got kind of royally screwed because of Microsoft.
Did it? How's that?
It hasn't been released on the Xbox One yet.
Really?
And there's no release date for it because Microsoft is dragging their feet on actually approving it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's got to piss you off.
Oh, it's pissing me off. It's pissing a lot of people. It's pissing off Defiant Games, apparently. Like, they're upset about it. Like, they actually went radio silent about it because their last response was, we submitted to Microsoft, and they told us that there was a problem with it that needed to be fixed before they could approve it to be put on the store. We fixed it almost within an hour of them pointing it out to us.
Yeah.
Because it was a simple fix. We submitted it to them, and then we've not heard back since.
Okay.
They're like, we at first thought maybe it might delay the game a week because they also waited until the last minute to tell them that there was an issue. Like, apparently they submitted it like 2 or 3 weeks before it was supposed to go live.
Yeah.
And Microsoft waited until 2 days before it was supposed to go live to tell them that there was an issue with it.
Mm.
So they're like, okay, this is probably going to delay it a week. And then they're like, no, we haven't heard back from them. We don't know what's going on. And apparently this is not the first time Microsoft has done this to a not AAA studio.
Oh, yeah. That's really what they give a shit about.
Which is fucked up.
I just want to try to make sure that Ace of Seafood is actually not available on the Xbox One. It might be available on the Xbox One. Switch, PS4, Android?
Okay. It's a phone game.
And PC? It's a weird fucking game. It's a weird game.
But yeah, no. It's like, Microsoft needs to fucking do something to get the exclusives.
They need exclusive titles. That's just the end of the.
Because I'm sorry, but Halo and Gears of War, as great as they are,
last year
they ain't cutting it.
Fucking last year, Halo Wars 2 was last year. Like this year, and I look to the horizon, Sea of Thieves and Crackdown
at some point in the future.
Which, the more I hear of Crackdown, the more it's like, ooh, I don't know.
Well, the fact that originally it was supposed to come out on the launch day of the Xbox One X, and then they said, we're pushing it back to the beginning, to spring of 2018.
Yeah.
And then apparently recently they just said there's no release date for it.
Anywho, let's move on to something that'll make you happy.
Sure.
Sega is teasing something new in the Valkyria universe.
Don't pull on my heartstrings, Sega.
November 20th. There's a website that says Valkyria Project coming soon with November 20th and several languages besides Japanese on one side. And that's all she wrote.
Don't you play with my heart.
Should we cross our fingers, burn some incense, and say Valkyria Chronicles 2 and 3 HD out on the PS4 and Xbox One?
You know what? I don't even need it on Xbox One. I don't care if it's PS4 exclusive.
Right.
Give me a new Valkyria Chronicles game that is not an alternate timeline, that is in the proper fucking timeline, and also is good.
I gave you that game, didn't I?
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, no, I played it. I beat it. It's all right. It's not great, but it's all right.
Okay.
It's also not a lot of gameplay compared to dialogue.
Oh, okay.
Like the dialogue to gameplay ratio is not good.
Rightio.
And it's not that long of a game because it was designed for the PSP.
Okay.
Or not the PSP, the Vita.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't designed to be a very long game.
Yeah.
And it's mostly talking.
So do you think this is going to be a brand new Valkyria Chronicles?
I don't know. I'm at a point where I
can't get your heart broken again.
I can't. Don't get me wrong. Again, I'm happy with Valkyria Revolution or whatever the fuck it was called.
Yeah.
But fucking if it's gonna be a new game, give me
do it in the core timeline.
Do it in the core timeline. Or just fucking port the fucking PSP games.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be a good move for them, considering...
Especially since 3 never came out in the States.
Yeah, did true. Well, I'll tell you what is coming out in the States, John, and that's the Injustice Fighter Pack 3, which we finally got reveals of the characters.
One of which we already knew, which was the Atom.
Yep, the Atom. Yeah, we already knew about that. We're also getting, what's her face?
Enchantress.
Enchantress, is that her from Suicide Squad?
Yes.
But then the Dark Horse... or horses, shall I say, is the fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Heroes in a Half Shell.
Man, so many people were pissed about this.
Really?
Yeah, because, okay.
Yeah.
So this is... I'm excited. I love the fact that Ninja Turtles are in it. Yeah. I think it's great. I think Hellboy being in it is great. I love all this shit.
Yeah.
So there are 2 camps that are pissed off about this.
Okay.
There's Camp A, which is upset that it's not a DC character.
Even though the first... Well, who was the Dark Horse in the first pack? Oh, it was Scorpion, right?
Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero?
So the fact that Sub-Zero, Raiden, Hellboy, and now the Ninja Turtles are taking up 4 spots that could have been used to put DC... to put everybody's favorite DC character in the game.
Go fuck yourself. There's a million DC characters.
So there's those people.
Yeah.
Then there's the people who are pissed off it wasn't Spawn.
Spawn.
Apparently, Ed Boon has been teasing Spawn since before the game came out, and so the Spawn fans have just been rabid when every fucking announcement has been not Spawn. Also, there are people that are upset that there's not a Watchmen character because a lot of people thought that one of those silhouettes was Rorschach, which I guess it now turns out to be a Ninja Turtle in a trench coat.
Oh, okay.
A big turtle in a trench coat.
Yeah. And then this is probably just going to be one character with different skins.
So the running theory, on what this will be, because obviously we don't know because there's been no gameplay footage or anything.
But they did. What did the bother in this trailer to voice all 4 of them? With their different voices.
So the theory is that it won't be 4 separate characters. It'll be one character, and you can choose which skin it is. You can choose between Raphael, Michelangelo, Leonardo, and Donatello, and then the other 3 turtles will be assist moves, kind of like in Marvel vs. Capcom or things where you'll do a move and one of them will come out and do something to help you in that special move. And then when you do your big ultimate attack, it's all 4 of them attacking you at once.
Okay.
Hence the "we fight together" line.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So that's the running theory. Now, if that's true or not, I don't know, but I think it's cool. I have had
a fantastic fucking time with Injustice 2. I really liked playing Injustice 2. I wanted to wait for all of these packs. I think I did a Patreon with Matt where we played the Red Hood.
Yeah.
Right? But
so I haven't actually bought any of the expansion stuff. I didn't buy the Ultimate edition, and I didn't buy the Ultimate Edition expansion.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna do that when I go home tonight.
Yeah.
Because I just got paid.
Yeah.
And that way I could, because I think Hellboy just came out or is about to come out.
Okay. I actually want to play the Atom. I like the actual gameplay trailer for him.
Well, they actually showed his fighting.
Yeah.
Previously,
where he goes little and
yeah. So I kind of I haven't played Injustice 2 in a few months since we moved.
Yeah.
Which we moved in August. But I kind of want to go back to it because I actually really like that game.
Also, apparently this week, I mean, if anybody cares, there's a bunch of Justice League from the movie Justice League skins for Cyborg and all the different characters. Cool. But You know what? It's funny because that's fucking Warner Brothers, right? And like you could buy the mother boxes.
Yeah, you
but
can.
Then you also
but it's all cosmetic stuff.
Yeah. Well, no.
Well, I mean, it's cosmetic stuff that does change some things, but
it changed more than that. I don't know how far down you got into it, but there would be some of those unlocks eventually would grant you like alternative power adjustment.
Yeah, they do affect like stats and powers.
Well,
and
no, those would be
like
like subs one power for another power, or even ultimates. But it wasn't egregious though. Like, see, that's the point. Is that when Injustice 2, I don't care, like, because it was fine, and you earned them in game as well. As you could go out and buy them if you wanted to, but it wasn't just all up in your fucking grill, and you got a ton of them in game just for playing the game. And the game was fun to play without them. If they never even put them in there, it would have been fun to play. It was only after I beat the single player campaign and started doing the towers online that
those fucking towers are awesome.
They were so good. They're so good, and they would show you what loot you were going to get. It would be like, you're going to get a piece of purple Harley Quinn loot out of this tower. Like, that game was very good in a way that, like, Shadow, like the loot box economy did not feel integrated. It felt like a side thing that I could engage with or I could leave alone instead of just like constantly having my head turned to look at it. I don't know. Anyway.
But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited for Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles are fucking awesome. I can't wait.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Speaking of weird shit in fighting games, guess who's going to be in Tekken 7? Noctis from Final Fantasy 15.
All right.
I guess Final Fantasy 15 is just here to stay for the next couple years because they just keep putting Noctis in. They just keep making stuff for Final Fantasy 15. And in this case,
that's just weird because like that's a different cut. It's Bandai, isn't it?
Yep. Namco Bandai makes Tekken, or at least publishes Tekken, and Square Enix is Final Fantasy. So it's going to be DLC that you can buy for Tekken 7 that has the stage, the car, the rest stop that they're at.
At the
very beginning
Sid's
of the
rest
game.
Stop.
Yeah, they got his buddies are out there. There's a weird thing in here where it's like, mission, take out a dangerous animal, like the bounties in Final Fantasy 15, but then when they go to it, it's Kuma with armor on. It's real strange. I just don't really know. Is there a huge amount of crossover between these two fan bases? Between people who are into JRPGs and people who are into fighting games?
Like, I don't know.
It just is a weirdo thing to me. And also, why isn't Spawn in Tekken 7? You know, I've been waiting for Spawn to come to Tekken 7 for a long time.
Spawn was in Soul Calibur.
That's true. Wait, was he?
Yeah. Soul Calibur for the Xbox. The original Xbox.
No, I thought that was...
So Soul Calibur 2.
It was Mario. It was Link.
Spawn for the Xbox. It was Link for the Nintendo, and Hayachi for the PS2.
Wait, no, because one of them...
No, it was...
Wait, hold on. One of them was Link, Heihachi, and then some garbage, weird green monster thing that was Farlane created.
Yeah, that character was on all of them. Spawn was on the Xbox one, though.
That's weird. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I didn't have an Xbox, so...
Yeah.
You did have an Xbox?
I have a friend who had an OG Xbox who had that game, and he was constantly annoyed that I had Link in my GameCube, and he was like, I really would rather have this one than Spawn.
Heihachi was fucking hot in that game. I loved it playing Heihachi in Soul Calibur. Speaking of...
Well, his response would be like, I don't get Link, but at least I don't have Heihachi, because I don't need a fucking Tekken character in my I was like, you already got Yoshimitsu's a Tekken character. And he's like, still, I feel if I had a PS2 I'd feel gypped because, you know, at least I got two characters on the Xbox and the GameCube version that were never, you know, in a fighting game before prior to this. I was like, Link is in Smash Brothers. And he's like, that doesn't count. Like, it was literally just one of those things where I would bring it up and he'd be like, that doesn't count.
The lengths that people will go to be proud that they purchased one brand of console have always flummoxed me.
Yeah.
Especially now.
I own an OG Xbox now, so I don't care, but still, it was pretty hilarious.
Yeah. Which is why I'm happy to have a PlayStation 4 where I can play Yakuza 6. There's a giant trailer out called Yakuza 6 Song of Life, previously on Yakuza, that John and I watched that is a good recap of Yakuza and what's kind of going on with it.
Yeah.
It's a little spoilery for just like the first very beginning.
It's a little spoilery for 5.
For 5 and then the beginning of 6. There's a lot in here that is obviously the beginning of 6. That being said, Yakuza games are so goddamn twisty and turny that spoiling the first 20 minutes of a Yakuza game means nothing. Like, literally nothing. Because if you look at where Yakuza, say, Kiwami starts with Kiryu's in Japan and then ends on top of an exploding building with money raining down on people, that is a long and twisty
spoilers, dude.
It doesn't. I'm not even. You wouldn't even like disappoint. You don't even know what happened up there, and it's amazing what happens up there. By the way, you should go play Yakuza Kiwami. So yeah, this is a trailer that shows. I actually really like the fact that unlike a JRPG, like a lot of other convoluted goddamn video games, this summed up 5 games worth of content. I think they skipped Yakuza 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah,
just to be like.
I mean, I think they showed a quick clip from one of those
I think it was
games.
3,
but it was like it passed over really quick.
Which I think is where Kiryu and Haruko, whatever her name is, start up the orphanage or take over the orphanage. But this one is interesting because it looks like Kiryu's going back to jail probably, and when he comes back, everything's different. I do think it's interesting that at the end they're showing a different area that looks like you might be going to more places than just Kamurocho.
Yeah.
Considering this is already out in Japan, I'm sure that some people are like, well, duh. But it's like a little coastal town that is hot but cold and light but dark and left but right. I don't know. They have this whole thing where they're like, it's a place that's empty but vibrant and light but with shadows, and it's like, okay. But
I want to play the game.
The graphics look real nice. Yakuza always has really good graphics. This is like no exception. Whole thing looks good. After playing Yakuza Kiwami,
I'd still need to play Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, and
all of them.
But it's just like I keep meaning to borrow them from you, and I keep forgetting to ask to borrow them, and then when I do borrow them, or then I think about like now I'm like I should probably get those from you right now, and then I'm like I'm playing Zelda Breath of the Wild right now. I'm also playing this game. Also, Matt just loaned me a game that's entirely in Japanese that I can't play or that I can't read.
Yeah.
Also, I've got like Need for Speed Payback and Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, and
you could have my copy of Need for Speed Payback.
Oh no! I rented it. I rented it, and I got to send it back to Gameplay.
God, was it boring?
Yeah, it was not as exciting as I was hoping it was going to be.
That trailer lied. It lied so hard. I mean, maybe that happens, but like, holy fuck.
Well, those scenes happen.
Yeah,
like those scenes are there.
Yeah,
but there's so much boring bullshit in between.
Oh, and Blandy McWhiterson and his group of like regulars,
but it's just like, and it's like Doom VFR comes out soon, and it's just like just so many stuff.
Yep.
Like, mind you, I think the stuff stops coming out so that I can play catch up between the second week of this, from the second week of December to the second week of January. I think I can start playing catch up.
Yeah. I've got like Persona 5.
And then shit starts coming out in fucking January.
Yep. All right. Well, you know what?
DBZ Fighter Z, whatever you call it. We
are running late, so I'm going to start running through. A lot of these are just like kind of weirdo stuff. There's going to be some new DLC for the Surge. I almost said the Purge. That looks like a theme park DLC where you're in a big robot theme park full of stuff.
That's called the Surge. Walk in the park.
Yep. I didn't really care for the Surge, so this is kind of like, okay. It also just kind of looks like a weird, bland DLC. Resident Evil, there's a trailer for the Switch enhancements for Resident Evil 1 and 2, which don't look great, but I tell you what, having Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2 on a single cart for like $40 that you can carry around with you, I think that those two games are criminally underrated, personally.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that everybody should go play them. I think that, at least from what I've played of them, I've never beaten both of them. Who knows, they could get bad towards the end, but when Resident Evil was getting all weird, they were kind of like holding down the fort. There's going to be a tie-in Planet of the Apes game for the War of the Planet of the Apes movie, and it's going to be like one of those PlayLink games where I actually went and looked at. it's weird because somebody put a lot of time and effort into the graphics in this game. Like, people look like people, and the apes look like the apes from the movie, and everything's like Unreal Engine 4. This is going to be a PS4 exclusive coming out November 21st, and then also on the Xbox One and PC later. I actually went and looked at gameplay, and it's just straight up that Playlink thing where it's like, should we go around the humans or fight them, And
so you're playing as the apes.
Well, in that clip you were.
Oh, okay.
It said something in one of the things I read that was like 16 different characters to play as, but let's put play in quotey fingers here. Seems like a weird thing that you would want to make sure came out with either the direct movie release or home movie release of War for the Planet of the Apes.
Has it come out on DVD or Blu-ray yet?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, maybe it was a thing where it wasn't ready, and they decided to wait until it was ready.
Yeah.
Which, shock. If that's the case, shock, because that never happens.
They could put it on the Blu-ray. Put the game on the Blu-ray as a bonus for buying physical media, because you're not going to charge more than $20 for this game. I'd be willing to bet. All right, so more good news. Ace Attorney they're making an Ace Attorney game for the Switch.
Oh shit!
Yep.
I did not know this.
Yep.
This is the first I'm hearing of it. I'm excited.
Yep. Nothing much more than just a single screen grab, or I don't even know if this is from this, but Capcom's making a Phoenix Wright game for the Switch.
I'm so excited.
That's great.
I'm on board.
Hell yeah.
I'll
100%.
buy it
Mm-hmm.
without question.
Yep. Me too.
Now someone released that Phoenix Wright anime here in the States.
Yeah. Now, this is the transition point where we go from like announcing new stuff into kind of the bummers towards the end. Agents of Mayhem is putting out a DLC called Safe Word that puts Kinsey from Saints Row as one of the Agents of Mayhem.
That's cool.
I really feel like Agents of Mayhem just doesn't tried to straddle a line where it should have either been Saints Row or like hard leaned into Agents of Mayhem.
I do agree with that.
Like all the connections to that universe, I would have just taken those out and really leaned in hard to giving it its own flavor. Because like Kinsey works for the FBI. Like before,
she was in Saints Row. She worked for the FBI.
Oh, that's true. But she was also just a foul like sex maniac or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's her origin in Saints Row. Is she worked for the FBI,
and then ended up working with the Saints, and then ended up becoming one of the Saints.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. It just kind of reminded me that like this whole thing's had potential, and it's just kind of sad because I feel like you're announcing this DLC, and
I don't think anyone's playing the game anymore.
I mean, like I'm very forgiving with something like this, but like I just can't find a good reason to go back and play that game at all.
Okay.
Now for some bad stuff, and this is mostly just delays. The Inpatient is delayed till 2018.
I had heard about that.
Yep. That's the VR game from the Until Dawn folks. It's being pushed out to January 23rd of 2018. A bit of a bummer, but hey, you know what? As you were just saying, our cup doth run over right now. It'd be nice to have a little bit of time to play catch up instead of just constantly having to play through stuff. Marvel Heroes is getting shut down.
Yep, Disney put the axe to it.
Yep, which I'm sure that Cargill and you are probably not. You didn't play a whole lot of it.
Well, I played it a lot when it
was on the PC?
when it launched on PS4.
Oh, okay.
I played it a lot, and then we moved, and then we didn't have internet for like 2 months, and then we got internet back, but there were a shit ton of games out, so I hadn't had time to go back to it. But I was actually thinking about it the other day. I was like, I need to start playing that again because I really like that game. And then I saw this news, like, well, never mind.
Yeah,
guess I'll delete that from my console.
Not entirely. Disney. I'm just gonna say that file this under Disney continues not to know what the fuck they want to do with video games. Just like make a new thing, shut a thing down. Like,
I think it's interesting because apparently I forget what website, but one website actually talked to some people anonymously that work at Gazillion.
Yeah,
and they were like, "Yeah, no, we actually were just making plans to release a whole bunch of new shit on the PS4 and Xbox One versions, and also on the PC, and we were really excited. And we got the call." We found out about it when we saw the news on all the news websites.
Wow.
Like, we didn't know about it until then, and then we went to our bosses and went, hey, is this true? And they're like, so it's true.
Oh, man. Well, speaking of bosses, Bossa Studios canceled Deck Splash.
Yeah.
Which you and I looked at. This is a stupid one because they had a free week to play it, and they wanted to hit 100,000 people playing the game, and they launched it up against Call of Duty World War II.
So I think I know what this was.
Tell me about it.
I think that they were like, we don't think that this game will do, like, we don't think this game is going to do well in the market as an online-only game.
Yeah.
And we don't want to just outright cancel it and piss off the people who have invested time in it, because no one's paid money for it yet. It hasn't actually been like a money thing, but they've actually have a pretty decent-sized community.
Yeah.
So I think they picked a weekend. I think the weekend that they chose was a bad weekend. I don't think they intended it to put it up against Call of Duty or whatever.
Yeah.
But the weekend that they chose to do it, I think they put such a high number. Even if no other game was out, there was no fucking way they were going to hit that number.
100,000, yeah.
I think they purposely did that so that they could go, well, we didn't hit it, so we're going to cancel it and move on to something else.
Yeah. Well, if you want to go, you can always check out. John and I played it for Super Awesome Video Game Show.
All right.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. It was a fun game. I don't think I'd ever play it outside of that.
I need a little bit more than what was there for me to continue. It was Splatoon meets Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
It needs some refinement in the controls to be able to do stuff a little bit better.
I thought it would have been a great free-to-play game that you earn credits to unlock skins for the skateboard, because that was really the only customizable thing is the skateboard, and the skateboards didn't do anything other than look a specific way.
If they had put people on the skateboards and then you got to do either microtransactions or loot boxes or unlocks via credits inside to put a different person or customize the person on your skateboard, could have worked.
Yeah. But I mean, just with what it was, I feel like that it didn't really feel like a full $20. I honestly was like, I wouldn't pay money for this.
Yeah.
If it was a free-to-play game that had like loot boxes or something in it, I would totally be okay with it. But I don't know if I'd actually pay money for this.
Pay money for it. Well, I'll tell you what you won't be paying money for, John, and that's Deadpool, because it's been delisted again.
Yeah, I kind of figured something like that would happen.
Yeah, I would say if you're interested in ever playing this Deadpool game, which is a fun game that I really
it's a great
enjoyed.
Game. It's actually a really good game.
Who knows if it's going to be back? But if it comes back, buy it. It'll be no more than $20. Purchase
or
it.
Go to GameStop and buy the used copy of it.
Did they put it on like the PS4 and Xbox One? Did they put out a...
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what's being delisted.
Oh.
That's what's being delisted.
I thought it was the Steam version was being delisted.
Oh, yeah. No. It's all digital versions of it are being delisted.
Okay. All right. Well, let's end on an up note. I didn't want to put this in the beginning because I didn't want it to get caught up in all the complaining that I had to do. Hulu is creating a Hitman series written by the guy that made John Wick.
Nice.
And that is pretty cool. I have some thoughts on, because I was watching Future Man. I have some thoughts on that for part 2, or for when we come back out of break. But yeah, I'm hoping if it's Hitman,
just don't hire Timothy Olyphant to play Hitman, and we'll be okay.
If it's got like 50% of John Wick in it, I'm all right with that. Like, I think that would work. Like, take John Wick, but take all the world building stuff out of it, and then like build a weekly narrative.
Just look at the 2 movies they did, and don't do any of that.
I think that first movie was like the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I fell asleep during the second movie, and I never went back and watched it again. Anyway, I love Hitman, everybody, and Hitman TV show, great. Just make it violent. Make it violent.
Yeah.
With that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Star Wars Battlefront 2, and then we're going to answer some questions, so stick around. And we're back. Yo. And you know what? Let's kick off coming back with I don't think we've talked about Star Wars Battlefront 2 enough, John.
All right.
I finished the single-player campaign of Star Wars Battlefront 2. So here's the thing. The multiplayer's all fucked up. We talked about it, blah, 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 whatever, right? So maybe you're out there and you're like, hey, you know what? I'm a single-player person. I like it when games have a single-player campaign. The single-player campaign, maybe that's worth it. All right. No is the answer, or at least not for me. Let me talk a little bit about the single-player campaign for Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Go for it.
All right, so we all know the main character is, and I pulled up a Wikipedia page so that I could say the name correctly. Iden Versio is this lady that is an Imperial...
I still like Salsa Verde.
Salsa Verde is a Special Forces, Imperial Special Forces commando, and as every single trailer for the game showed you, basically out there doing missions for the Empire when the second Death Star is blown up and the Emperor is killed. And then this picks up her story about, like, after that happens, that there's some protocols that have been activated and that you have to go do this stuff for the Empire. Okay. So let's start with some structural problems, and then go to some story problems, and then end on some gameplay problems with single player, and talk briefly about the multiplayer, and then we'll take some questions. So here's the thing. You know, in the trailer for and this is a spoiler, but I feel like you need to know this if you're evaluating this. I'm not gonna talk individual like plot points, but did you in the trailer, you know, when Luke Skywalker shows up? Well, Amanda and I were playing through the game, and we played through the first 2 missions, and I think at the beginning of the third mission, you play as Luke Skywalker. You also play as a number of the other hero characters from the game sprinkled throughout. I think there's 4 total missions of the game where you actually go from Iden's perspective to one of these other hero characters, and you play as them. And in a lot of cases, those characters' missions have nothing at all to do with Iden's story.
It's more just this is what this character's up to while this is going on.
Right. And in fact, it fucks up the story structure of Iden Versio's story because, and without going into specifics, her personal story kind of comes to a climax very early, like in the campaign, and then there's just more after that. There's a lot of weird stuff that comes in that doesn't amount to anything. So I'm going to talk very vaguely here, but this is a detail. The Luke storyline ends with Luke getting a thing. Okay, I'm not going to say any more than that. Right? Okay, so Luke
you got that thing I sent him.
You got that thing he sent you. So at the end of this mission with Luke gets a thing. That thing does not factor into the story at all. It doesn't lead to a further mission with Iden Versio. It doesn't lead to one of the other missions with one of the other characters. There's another mission with one of the other characters, one of the other hero characters, where that hero character needs to get information about a thing, right? They get this information about a thing, this is
a different thing.
A different thing, which could be an event. Nothing to do with Iden's storyline. It's just a mission that ends with you getting the MacGuffin, right, that doesn't lead anywhere, in spite of the fact that the MacGuffin would probably lead you to one of the environments that's in the story, that's in the game, like one of the planets that they have a map for in multiplayer. And I'm like, okay, this is a thing. You know, the Battle of Jakku, right? Yeah. At the beginning of Star Wars Episode 7, you got the crashed thing. And in Star Wars Battlefront, you've got the Walker mission that you do on Jakku where everything's all fucked up or whatever. Well, there's a mission in the Battle of Jakku in this game. But we still don't know why there is a Battle of Jakku. I mean, and before, please do not come to the comments with like, well, actually, in the comic book or in like the DLC for Lego Star Wars or like in the animated show. No. Like I watched the movie. Or
this novel.
Yeah, but they don't even set it up in the game. They don't really even tell you why you're doing any of this stuff in the game. And then, as if all that wasn't enough, like after the credits there, or not even after the credits, but the last mission in the game is something, again, that takes place way past the time of the game and is completely unrelated to the plot of the game. So it just bounces everywhere. You never spend enough time with Iden Versio to really get to like care about her. She's just kind of this like cipher. And I think it's one thing if you wanted to say, well, the single player campaign is just training for the multiplayer, right? They're going to teach you how to use the different guns, the different cards that you're going to pick up. You get a bunch of those that you can get. Maybe, but you could have done that with just like the arcade mode could have served the same purpose without having it. Now, let me be clear here. The voice acting is great. The cutscenes are great. Some of the missions have some nice, like, kind of bombastic moments of like, oh shit, I can't believe that just happened, right? but nothing in the scope of, like, say, a Call of Duty, right?
Yeah.
It's all just kind of wandering through the Star Wars universe, doing a bunch of stuff that doesn't ever connect.
A lot of what I've heard is that the story mode starts off really strong, and then at a specific point, again, people not being specific, at a specific point, her story just kind of flutters.
Yeah.
And then the story mode becomes just garbage after that. Never is able to recover.
If they wanted to make a story about this character, I feel like they needed to start earlier and have her doing stuff for the Empire and not put in, I mean, like, I understand it's a Star Wars game. You want everybody to be able to play with Luke Skywalker and a bunch of other hero characters, but, like, you could have written a story that was just about those characters without asking me to care at all about this new character that you brought in, and then just didn't really do a whole lot with. Like, her emotional story is so shallow. You never get to know anything about her. You never know, like, what did she like to do when she's not fighting for the Empire, right? Like, what's she like? Is she funny? Not really. Is she interesting? Not really. I mean, and none of this is, like, she's just a very generic character that doesn't really go anywhere. So, okay, from there, let's move on to the fact that then a lot of the actual gameplay that you're doing is just kind of like glorified bot matches where you're fighting a bunch of bots. And anybody that watched the dojo, I haven't played in the multiplayer a match. I've played very few matches where I've gotten less than at least a 1-to-1 kill death ratio. I know what I'm doing in the multiplayer, right? I know how to shoot a blaster at somebody else.
Yeah.
I was getting the floor wiped. I was just getting my ass handed to me by the bots in the single player campaign, mostly because I cannot stress this enough. You know how in Star Wars Battlefront, when you're in the multiplayer, how they have that thing where if you tap to one side and you hit the circle button, you'll roll.
Yeah.
You'll roll forward, backwards out of the way. If there's a grenade, you roll out of the way. You can't do that. I don't know why in the single player campaign. You just can't do that. Like when you hit the circle button, she crouches. So all the muscle memory that you've built up in the multiplayer about dodging out of the way and about the way your mobility in the game works is useless in the single player because you don't have that. They never give you a rocket pack. You know how iconic those rocket packs are in the game? Like, you know, remember the first one where you got the card and everyone's just going all over the way? You never get that. So, and when you back up to the checkpointing system is like really long between checkpoints. Like there was a part that Amanda and I were playing again on part 2 of the story dojo where you're flying through a big debris field in your TIE fighter, right? And this guy's like, follow me. And then he goes next to every piece of garbage around and up and down. And if you clip one of those pieces of garbage, you blow up and you go all the way back to the beginning of the checkpoint where all he's doing is talking about like, oh man, what are we going to do now?
I will say a lot of reviews I've read have said that those like ship moments where you're piloting a ship in the story mode are some of the best of the game. Of the story, and actually deserve to be their own game. Like they should just make a game that's those.
I'm all in favor of making a new TIE Fighter game if that's what you want to make. But what I'm really coming down here is that the story mode was about 6 hours long. There are a few places with some hackneyed stealth where you stealth until you get seen and then it's kill everybody. Every level, or some of the levels, about half the levels have a bunch of things, collectible things where you can pick up a bunch of things in the level that give you bonuses. Like there's achievements essentially that unlock some more points and stuff. But it's not a very good story. It's not a very good story mode. That's basically it. I mean, for Star Wars, which I expect maybe a little bit more about, if this was another game, if this was any other video game, I feel like you would just go, I mean, that was all right, but like, man, it also feels kind of exploitative that they're just like, Luke, right? Luke, you like Luke, play as Luke. You like this guy, play as this guy. Like, oh, everybody likes this person, play as them. And I'm like, well,
do I get to play as Bosk? That's all I got to know.
No.
Oh, man,
spoiler alert, you can't play as Bosk.
What you got against Bosk, EA?
Play as Bosk.
What you got against Bosk?
I don't know. Hell, they don't even have Greedo in the game.
Shit.
Yeah. Like, come on,
well,
man.
I mean, in all honesty, Greedo's dead.
Well, that didn't stop him from putting him in that hut assault or whatever that was in the first game.
Because that took place before.
That's true.
This all takes place after.
Yep. As far as the multiplayer goes, I think you guys are going to get a lot from what we said at the beginning. This is what I like to say. If you're just pulling just this part, right, is they've introduced classes into the game, which I'm not a big fan of, where the cards that you can equip, the abilities that everybody gets, the guns that characters can use are hooked to specific classes. It's assault, sniper, heavy weapons, and officer that does like buffs. They're essentially a medic, but they have a few other like kind of party buffs that you can do. I actually really prefer the first game. Like I actually loaded it up to play it.
When they made that big video, it's like, whoa, we wanted to know how to make the Battlefront experience better. So we brought in all these Battlefield 1 hardcore players to ask them, how can we make Battlefront more to their liking?
Yeah.
I went, well, they just ensured that I'm not going to like this game.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Walker Assault. A lot of the maps are set with kind of an interesting like tier system, right?
Yeah.
Where like if the attacking team gets past the first checkpoint, then the defenders back up and they are defending the next set of checkpoints all the way back to a final set of checkpoints. I actually find the maps, I think that Overwatch has spoiled me a little bit, because I find the maps in Star Wars Battlefront, especially the big 40-player 20-on-20 maps, to be just real wide open and super chaotic, as opposed to like, man, I fucking love how in Overwatch it's like, this is the choke point, this is the capture point, like these are the strat, and then it's just like it's just your team and your skill on the other team, as opposed to like, oh well, this map is 6 miles wide and there's a sniper on the other side of it, so I guess I'm fucked, right?
Yeah.
It's fun. It's kind of like the whole game to me is just like a medium. It's like a middle of the road game, because all the fun that I could have in the multiplayer is kind of stymied a little bit by the checkpoint, or by the unlocks and the loot boxes and all that stuff. The single player stuff was stymied by the fact that it's no sense of purpose. I'd play the arcade mode, except that, like, you know, after you've hit 500 credits, then you can't get any more credits for 24 hours, which, given the fact that 500 credits is a garbage amount, it's nothing, you know. It's 15,000 to unlock. It's 4,000 for a loot box. It's 40 2-minute single player arcade matches to get one loot box. That's not a thing. Even if you're going to abuse that, you'd be playing so much that anyway. So the whole thing just comes out to be like bleh. Now, this led me to one thing that I want to say really briefly before we get into the questions, and that is that I've thought an awful lot about, like, I liked Battlefield. I liked the first Battlefront game an awful lot. But I am not going to sit here and tell you that a $60 price tag with a $50 season pass was not too much, and that those maps should not have been in the game when it first came out. That would have been a totally $60 game if all the maps that were released, Death Star, Bespin, Tatooine, and what was it, Jakku, and Scarif, if all those were in the game, like from jump, that game would have been so worth $60 and no problem whatsoever. I wish that this game had been $60 with a $50 season pass. I wish this game did that instead of creating the nickel and dime forever system. I've been thinking an awful lot while I've been looking at these loot boxes, and I've been thinking about all these things, and I honestly feel that if the game industry is going to keep doing this shit where they say games are too expensive to make and that's why we've got to have DLC and loot boxes and whatever, I'd rather see you make Star Wars Battlefront 2 $80 and have everything than this. I'd rather get a game that costs more than $60. If that's true, if honestly what you're saying is true and you're getting the best AAA game that's out there, I'd honestly rather have it be that, like, 3 times a year there's a AAA game that's $80 that has everything, that has all the DLC already in the game, out of the box, that doesn't have any microtransaction bullshit baked into it, that's just a full-on game for $80 than trying this stuff, because this can only get worse from here. Is that once we're all done complaining about Battlefront 2, that Anthem will be twice as bad, right? Or that the next Assassin's Creed will be twice as bad. And then the year after that, it'll be, the next Battlefield will be 3 times as bad as it is right now. And I honestly feel that is one solution. That if you're going to take them at their word that is a solution, charge more for your game. And if it's worth it, I feel like gamers will pay that amount of money. But stop trying to stealth that charge in from the side, except for the fact that, of course, we've all already accepted the season pass and DLC and all that stuff to begin with. But the other thing that I was thinking was, if you honestly feel that you're not making enough money, this is the other thing that I get hung up about. We don't know, but like, I wish that developers would actually release what was the budget for your game, and then how much did you make off of it?
Oh, you mean like what
what movies do?
Well, like what the one company did that made Hellblade?
Yes.
Like what they did, because they actually went, no. We want to say this is how much we spent.
Yeah.
This is how much we made back.
Yeah.
And
because I get the feeling with a lot of these games that, like, I think in Battlefront 1 that EA made a shitload of money, and it's just like, but we can make more money doing this. And I feel like there's a I know they'll never do it, right? Because I'm just some asshole on a podcast saying I want this to happen. But like, that amount of transparency would at least allow us all to go, you know, if you spent $200 million on a game and you made $120 million in sales on that game, then yeah, your game flopped. It fucking flopped all super hard. And we'll know that, as opposed to
well, I think what they're worried about is that the companies that spend $200 million on a game, and then another company comes out, is like, yeah, we spent $100 million and they spent $200 million, and not only does our game look better, but it plays better, and it does all this better, and they're worried that people are going to turn to them and go, why'd you spend that much money on that game?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, just to recap, Star Wars Battlefront 2, single player, not really worth it. Arcade mode, not really worth it. Multiplayer, if you're really... I honestly feel like if you're into a class-based shooter, that it's unfortunate that we live in a time where where Battlefield 1, Call of Duty, Overwatch... fucking not, I was about to say Lawbreakers, but like, we live in an era where you've got a lot of very nice first-person competitive shooters online that you can choose from. You can really pick your poison. I don't see where this is going to fit in outside of like, you like Star Wars, right? Yeah.
And I feel like because they made everything convoluted in the multiplayer, they've already turned away all the casual fans that really like the first Battlefront.
Yep.
But
anyway,
before we get to emails, can I talk about a game real quick?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I beat Super Mario Odyssey.
Tell me all about it, John.
Switch. It's great. It's awesome.
Okay,
I love it.
Should have been playing that.
Yeah, you should have. No, it's great. I beat it, and I use quotation marks when I say beat it because, as with most Mario games, when you beat the story, it then goes, okay, now go.
Now it starts for real.
Well, it's more of like there is actually a thing where it's like the story ends and then like it's over, and then like Cappy is like, man, I really had fun in that adventure. I don't want the adventure to end. Let's do some more, and let's go get all those collectibles that we didn't get before, and get all those costumes. And also, here's another little mystery that pops up, and you get like 2 more levels that you didn't get to play before.
Cool.
That are like hard as fucking shit. Like, I actually got so frustrated with the first of those 2 levels that I actually like kind of went, all right, I need to take a break, and I'm now playing Breath of the Wild. That you loaned me. But
how long would you say the game was to get to the quote ending?
It was a good long while because I was playing that pretty hardcore for a week or two, a couple weeks.
20 hours,
probably.
Okay.
This is like, if you are a fan of Mario 64 or even Super Mario Sunshine, like, this is the best 3D Mario game ever made.
I had an amazing time with it.
And if you can look past the moral quandaries of taking control of other creatures,
I can.
That is a great mechanic. And what it is so, like, Kotaku even had an article it's weird, like, one of the guys at Kotaku is like obsessed with this game, with Mario Odyssey, to the point of at least once, sometimes twice a week, he has a new article about Mario Odyssey.
Okay.
And it's really weird, but he did touch on something that I thought was actually really speaks to how well the game is designed. Is there are moments in every level where I love the fact there's no timer in it, so it encourages you just to explore the world and find, like, I was going to places that I'm like, there's no way I should be in this area. I've used Cappy and these other things to get into this area, that, like, to get on top of this wall that is so high up there's no way, like, I think I did something by getting up to no, it turns out there's something over there, and they actually wanted me to go over there.
Yep.
Like, and it's actually something really cool.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. Like, I wasn't directed to there.
Yeah.
but I did it because I was just fucking around. And it totally wanted me to do that.
Nintendo makes good games.
Yeah. Like the level design on that game is really top notch.
Okay.
And the battles are fun. I feel like the game never gets boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like it always kind of keeps the energy moving, and like even when you get to the change up in the bosses, like they actually kind of like you'll think like, oh, I'm supposed to fight the brutals every encounter or whatever,
right?
And then like, oh no, this level there are no brutals on this level. I'm actually fighting a giant fucking chicken,
right?
Or I'm fighting this other thing, or and they have T-Rexes, and it's great, and there are references to not just other Mario games, but other Nintendo games, like little Easter eggs, little callbacks. All the costumes from Mario are always fun and stupid.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of fun, and
okay.
it's I didn't know how much I needed a Mario game in my life.
Sure.
Until I started playing this. Mm-hmm. And if you don't own a Switch and you are going, well, does the Switch have that? I mean, Breath of the Wild. First of all, Breath of the Wild is a fucking great game.
Sure.
But if you're not a Zelda person, like, does it really? Fucking Mario Odyssey, man. Yeah, that is the game. And it's fun as fucking shit. The music is so good, especially the New Donk City music.
Yeah.
Is great.
Okay.
I actually went out and bought the single on iTunes.
Oh yeah.
Of the song "Jump Up Superstar" because it is so catchy. I cannot recommend it enough. The motion controls are a little weird. If you
Boy, I don't like the fact that it has moves that you can really only do with the motion controls.
Yeah. There's a couple of moves that you can only do with the motion controls. Like even if you turn the motion controls off, you basically means you can't do those moves.
Yeah, and they're useful moves.
Yeah. But having said that, I do feel like as much as I don't like the motion controls, I do feel like this is the best implementation of them that I've experienced.
Okay.
Because it got to a point where I was doing them without even thinking, and it wasn't like I'm playing Breath of the Wild right now, and I actually do feel like some of the times when it turns to motion controls, I'm actually struggling with them.
Yeah.
A little bit. Whereas in Mario Odyssey, I don't felt like I ever struggled with them.
Okay.
Like it was very much like, oh, I just do this. Okay, cool, whatever. And then I just got used to just doing that.
Okay.
But I can't think of a negative thing to say about it. I think that's my biggest thing. Like there's one world that's frustrating as fuck.
Yeah.
Which is the ice world.
Yeah.
It's literally the most frustrating thing ever. But even then, it was really a relief when I would do the thing I was trying to do and not fuck it up because of the fucking ice world and sliding on ice and shit.
Yeah.
But no, it's a fucking great game. Like it's a really good game. It is worth getting a Switch for, I think.
I think last week we had a question where somebody asked about do you think that Nintendo is fucking up with the Switch? And I'm like, bro, the Switch and a new Mario and a new Zelda game launched in the same year in 2017.
Yeah. No, it's great.
I think that's crazy.
The only thing they would need to do is probably port the Smash Brothers Wii U version to the Wii to the Switch. Just port that like they did with Mario Kart. And they fucking that's all they need to do. I mean, I would like a brand new Smash Brothers, but I don't think we're going to get a new one.
Tomorrow, I have the ability to take Skyrim with me to the bar and play it while I drink.
And I've heard it's a pretty good port.
So,
according to reviewers.
You know what? I've been waiting for years to be able to say I now have a console where I can play Skyrim on an airplane, on a train station, in the backseat of a car. I don't ever have to stop playing Skyrim. So that's enough of a reason for me to buy one.
And Nintendo, I don't know why I said Marvel, it's weird. Yeah. But Nintendo is also being really kind to the indie developers. So you're getting a lot of indie games that are, that you might be able to find these games on other consoles and even on PC. But they're being focused on. Nintendo's oh, hey, every month I get a little newsletter pop-up thing that says, hey, here are all the indie games that just popped up on our store. Yep. You should really check these out, and here's why.
Yeah.
They're actually selling me stuff. And they're good games. Like they're not like shitty shovelware indie garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it probably is, but you know, you get one or two. Like that Troll game, Troll and I or whatever. That game was garbage.
Okay.
Don't play it.
Okay.
Ever.
All right.
Ever.
Fair.
Just saying that to everyone out there.
Sure.
Don't. But it's a great game, Mario Odyssey. It's fucking awesome. I've had nothing but fun with it, and I totally after I get done with Zelda, I'll probably go back to it and finish it off with the extra stuff. But I just need a break.
We're like 2 weeks from Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of Xenoblade Chronicles, so I probably am going to skip that.
Okay. All right, you want to do some emails?
Yeah, let's do some emails.
mail@rageselect.com is the email address, and our first email this week is about Battlefront 2.
Oh, you sly dog.
Hey, Jimmy K writes in and
Good
says,
thing I gave you your break from Battlefront 2 for all of like 2 minutes.
Dear Jeff and John, I think it's time to make a stand. Loot boxes, pre-ordering, and pay-to-win is predatory practices by unscrupulous gaming companies. This is news to no one, and the industry will not respond until they realize that such behaviors aren't profitable. Do you think a campaign mounted by a group of united YouTubers and Twitch content providers could produce the change that is needed? The group could come up with a logo that identified themselves as not playing games that have loot boxes and pay-to-win mechanics in their games, as well as a promise not to participate in any pre-order program. Do you think such branding would be helpful? Jim K 413.
The cynic in me says no.
I don't think so. I think that what happens there is that
I think you'll have a bunch of people saying they won't, and then they'll just go ahead and buy it.
I think that what happens if your biggest YouTubers don't cover a game with loot boxes, that what happens is that smaller YouTubers cover those games and then pick up fans who are looking. Because, like, let me be clear. Jim Sterling has made just about every show he's done has been about how shitty loot boxes are for months. And just today, like, he put up a Battlefront 2 video. Like, and whether that video is complaining about loot boxes or not, like, it's still featuring that game. Like, you'd have to go
with footage that he played.
Right. You'd have to go radio silent. Jimmy K, I understand what you're saying, and I think that would be.
I would love it if people
great.
would do that.
Yeah. But the other weird thing is that, like, you know, we played the single player campaign when we played Star Wars Battlefront. So let's say you play a game that has a single player campaign and also has a multiplayer campaign that has loot boxes. What about the single player campaign? Like, Call of Duty has a single player campaign that has nothing to do with loot boxes. Anyway, I was thinking about your question, Jimmy K, and I did want to say that I think that, to my mind, the way that you fix this issue is, after thinking long and hard about it, is return policy. You just have to have. I've talked about this before. I don't think you totally agree with this, but I think you should be able to return a video game if you don't like it. Not if it's defective, but if you get it and you don't like it. I think that if you bring Battlefront 2 home and you play it for a day and you decide these loot box bullshit isn't for you, that you should be able to take it back to the store and return it. The same way that Steam has a refund policy, I think that it would take a huge thing that none of the companies would do. But I think that if you could prove that my PlayStation ID is me, that I should be able to return stuff, not just to games, not just to the Steam store, not just to the PS4 and the Xbox store, but to retail stores. The retail store should not be able to tell me that I can't return a game for cash money for the $60 that I paid for it if it's bad and I don't like it. Because so many things these days are hard to tell. It's hard to tell whether the loot box shit's going to be super intrusive or whether it's just going to be this thing like an Injustice, right? We talked about how Injustice, I don't have any problem with it in Injustice. Battlefront 2 kind of sucks, right? Overwatch, you know, I understand everybody with the slippery slope argument of, like, you know, it's cosmetic in Overwatch, which opens the door when everybody accepts that, to then EA doing, you know, actual content in loot boxes. But I think that, to be honest, the way that you combat this shit is with return policy, because I think the developers on Steam have to be fucking careful, because you can play a game for 3 hours on Steam and then go, this sucks, and return it. Not for any reason outside of this sucks. You don't have to provide any justification to Steam outside of this is a bad game and I don't like it to get your money back. And I think that if we lived in a world where people could do that, then developers would have to be a little careful about, like, well, we got your money, so what are you going to do? And my answer to them would be, well, I'm going to fucking take this game back and get my money back, and then you could deal with a pissed off retailer who's like 20% of your games got returned to us. We just took a huge financial hit on this, blah, 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 blah. That's the only way I think it's going to work. I think that because you tell me if you think I'm wrong here.
Yeah.
I think this is going to settle down, right? This is the last big loot box game of this year, right? After this, we've got Xenoblade Chronicles, LA Noire on the Switch is out. We've got Skyrim VR, Doom VFR. We've got Sims 4 is coming out on consoles.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think there's another big like loot box game from a AAA studio that's asking you to spend $60 with a huge amount of loot boxes in it until next year at some point, right?
Yeah.
So I'd be willing to bet that because there's not the reason that this is a big deal now is because, like you said, we have just gotten through like a half dozen but somewhere between 6 and 10 big games that all did this one after another, and they all came out right in a row, just steaming people off. If these games had come out once a month over the course of this year, I don't think you'd have people as steamed, and I think that people will forget how steamed they are now.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm saying, for the love of God, just remember that this was Electronic Arts and what they did and what this is, and keep that in mind when the next thing comes out, even if it's a Sims 4. The Sims 4 is an EA game, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you think that Star Wars Battlefront 2's predatory loot box policy is bad for the gaming industry, and you are planning on buying The Sims 4 from EA, maybe consider not doing that and then writing them a letter saying, I'm not buying The Sims 4 on my console because I think that your business practice of charging people with loot boxes is predatory and I don't like it. So that's more of a way to incite change, I think, than this. I personally think, if I rub my crystal ball, that it's going to get worse, and then it's going to hit a real breaking point where one of these games is going to tank because people are fed up with loot boxes. And then once that happens, the game industry is going to have to be like, we're going to have to walk this back a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I agree with you. It is going to get. I do think it is going to. I agree with you completely. I think it is going to get worse. I do think that there are smaller companies that are trying to combat it.
Yeah.
Like, I do think, like the company that made Hellblade, the guys who were making
Ninja Theory.
Yeah, Ninja Theory. I think Ninja Theory, that was them trying to combat that stigma. And I think that they are going to continue to try to combat that. Mm-hmm. I feel like the people who made Hitman,
IO,
I feel like they're kind of.
It was weird because I almost feel like Hitman got a mandate from Square to be episodic.
Yeah.
Which all of us were like, boo.
But then it
was like, oh, shit, this is great.
Yeah. So, I think IO is, now that they're independent again, like, I feel like you're not going to see a Hitman game that suddenly has loot boxes. I don't feel like you're going to see that. I think if worst case scenario, you might see another episodic Hitman game.
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst you're going to get, which
I'm all right with that.
Yeah, you're all right with that. I do feel like, they're smaller developers, smaller people, smaller companies that are like, they're like, you know what, we're gonna make this, like the company that's making that's making The Impatient, that made Until Dawn. Mm-hmm. Like, we're doing single player story driven experiences that you pay a specific amount, and you're like, there are companies that are making those games that people are saying that they want, that don't have loot boxes, that don't have crazy unneeded bullshit.
Right.
And I think those companies, either they're gonna also suffer because of this,
mm-hmm.
Or we're gonna start seeing those companies start to
prosper
a little bit more.
Yeah, because
and hopefully those companies, when they start prospering, keep that mentality.
Yeah, and
don't go, well, now that we're making money, we're just too big to fail, so we got to start doing those loot boxes and doing those
mm-hmm.
those things that the bigger companies do, just so we can continue to do what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm hoping that doesn't happen. So I
don't think it's like that. I don't think Capcom is a scum pile of fuck, and if Resident Evil 7 didn't have like a multiplayer mode with loot boxes built into it, Resident Evil 7 didn't even have mercenaries mode in it, which has been a staple in a bunch of things. Like, if The Evil Within 2 didn't have, like, some kind of bullshit things, I don't think that if Skyrim on the Switch, like L.A. Noire, I'm just thinking of, like, there's been so many things that have come out that haven't had these loot boxes. It can't be essential to the industry. It can't be an essential part of game development because, one, it's too new. None of us know how this works in the long term. But, like, yeah, I don't know. I get real fed up with this idea of just like, well, we have to. Like, they're like, well, don't blame us. Our hands are tied. It's like, no, they're not.
Yeah, and like I said, and like you said, Capcom, Capcom for all the bullshit that they do, they nickel and dime you in other ways.
Yeah, if anybody was going to do it, it'd be Capcom, right?
Yeah.
There'd be Street Fighter V boxes with skins for Guile, right? Like, or Charlie, or whoever's in Street Fighter V, whatever. I mean, like, I feel like there are terrible companies out there that would totally do this. Even Ubisoft,
but they're not.
But they're not. And the fact that they aren't, to me, or the fact that, like, I haven't seen a Japanese game do this yet, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash. Doesn't have loot boxes, does it? Like, the problem is that if it really did cost this much, then fucking Hellblade wouldn't work, and the company would have gone out of business. But the fact that every game out there, that it's not every game, it's games from companies that we know are greedy.
Yeah.
We know EA's a greedy pile of shit. We know Activision wants your money and they want it right the fuck now, and they want you to keep paying them over and over again. We know that Ubisoft is more than willing to engage in scummy things to get you. We know that Warner Brothers will sell you a season pass it's not worth it, Batman Arkham City, right? Like, we know that the companies that have done this in the past. It's not like, like, we don't already know that there's a track record of these particular companies being garbage. And guess what? They're more garbage now.
Because in the past, we've been like, yeah, they're garbage, but continue to buy their shit.
Right. Exactly.
And they've gone, well, they say they hate it, but
I mean,
the money that they've given us tells us otherwise.
EA's still a company. EA's been fucking doing horrible shit for years.
Hell, there was that time. Weren't they at one point like named like the worst business ever?
They're named the worst business in the United States, and this is a country that has Bank of America and like Equifax, like places that are really invasive and intrusive into people's lives. And EA was named as like the worst company in the United States.
I actually remember when they did a shit ton to try to improve their image.
Yeah.
For video games after that announced, and then they waited until people forgot about it, and then now they went, all right, let's go back to doing our normal shit.
Again, I cannot stress, I loved Origin Systems games. Wing Commander, that was like part of my whole childhood. EA bought it, fucked them up, put them out of business, and now, like, you can't make a new Wing Commander game. Now it's like Star Citizen, right? But, like, EA has a bad track record. They were the first ones to do that bullshit day one online pass.
Yeah.
They invented that shit. So just remember, EA, Activision, Ubisoft, they're all do bad things. Sometimes they put out good games, but sometimes their games are garbage. Remember SimCity? Remember everybody fucking hated SimCity because you'd create multiple cities. You couldn't just build one city and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
The Sims 4, when it came out, everybody fucking hated it. They hated it because they took out grandchildren and pets or whatever, and now
they made it very bare bones.
Yeah, then they sold all that shit back to you, or like gave you content.
Which is what they do
updates.
every time they release a new Sims.
I just don't know why a lot of times people are like, "God, that's the last straw." I'm like, they've been doing this for 30 years. I've been watching them do this 25 years, maybe my entire life. They've not been a great company. Anyway.
Next question.
Eric says, let's take a question that doesn't have anything to do with EA
I'm down for
Battlefront 2.
Thank you.
Hey, Jeff and John, been a fan since the start of the loading bar. What are your thoughts regarding the Xbox X and mid-generation consoles in general? The Xbox X has been criticized because it isn't a new generation machine and the Xbox exclusives are weak. As a PC gamer, I think it's amazing Microsoft made a console capable of 4K settings $1,000 less than a comparable PC would cost. Isn't there inherent value to bringing 4K gaming to the masses? Thank you for providing consistently great content. Regards from Eric. What do you think about that, John?
I'm a little torn.
Okay.
Because I kind of have the same feelings about the Xbox One X as I do about the PlayStation 4 Pro.
Okay.
In implementation, I think as far as being better hardware, they can run the games better. I think that's great. Every console goes through a hardware revision at some point. Like since the Xbox 360 and the PS3, or even the PS2. I mean, if you look at the PS1, like even the PS1 has even gotten. I think the only one that didn't was the original Xbox. Never had a hardware revision.
Dude, the NES got the top loading. NES hardware refresh.
Hardware revisions are a normal thing. It used to be that usually you'd get the revision right at the end of the life cycle to kind of extend it just a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's what. And then I think with the Xbox 360 and the PS3 is when they did we're going to do slim models now, and kind of did it in the middle to kind of extend it in the middle.
Well, so I think that differing features probably starts with that generation because like the original Xbox didn't have HDMI out on it, and so then the first revision second revision, I think, of the 360 was a little bit slimmer and had a HDMI out, and then the PS3 started with like the backwards compatibility, and then they took that out and compressed it a little bit, slightly bigger hard drive, so that feature creep kind of started.
So I mean, this is not anything new on one hand, but it is more. But this time they're doing it in a way that they're considerably more powerful, and ish, in comparison to how powerful they were.
Like put a new video card in your PC, more powerful type of thing.
And a few other changes, but I feel like, do the consoles need that change? I don't know. Are they? If you haven't bought an Xbox One and you decide you want to get an Xbox One, and you have a 4K TV, and you have you want a 4K Blu-ray player, and you want then Xbox One X, totally worth getting. If you don't have a 4K TV, if you don't have any of that high definition stuff, then it's not really worth it. Because you're not buying it for the reason that they want you to buy it for.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that has been the bane of my existence, considering where I work in my normal day job, which I will not name, because, and I blame Nintendo for this. Because people didn't understand that, or people originally thought that when they went from Wii to Wii U that it was the same console. And then when they got told, no, they're two completely different consoles, they're not Wii U discs will not work on the Wii.
Right.
So now when they see PS4 and PS4 Pro and Xbox One and Xbox One X, clearly the PS4 Pro is a brand new console that, while it can play PS4 games, there are going to be games that are released specifically for the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One X that will not be able to be played on those old consoles.
Yeah.
And that's not true.
Nope.
Every game that's released for the PS4 that has PS4 Pro enhancements or Xbox One enhancements will work perfectly fine on an Xbox One and a PS4.
Sure.
And people don't understand that. They think they're brand new consoles and that it's, and want to know where the games are.
Right.
For it. And I don't know where I was going with that. It's just something that popped in my head. I just dawned on me. I have no idea how that ties back in.
Okay.
But, so I feel like it's a little I feel like both Sony and Microsoft have failed a little bit in explaining that.
Yeah.
Like you and me get it.
Right.
And a lot of our listeners get it because we're gamers. We analyze this shit a lot.
Sure.
And our listeners probably listen to us, probably listen to other game people, journalists, actual journalists and stuff like that. So they know this shit.
Yeah.
But your average consumer doesn't know this.
Right.
And I don't feel like these two consoles, while yes, they are, I feel like the PS4 Pro helps if you're adopting VR because it plays VR better. It's needed for that. I feel like that if we never got a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X, I don't feel like it would have extended the life cycle any. Like I feel like the life cycle of these consoles would be the same.
Okay, that's worth noting.
And so in that regards, I feel like they're kind of pointless. Having said that, I do think they do a lot of good, and I do feel like given the fact that TVs and definitions and 4K and whatever, like the pace that stuff is evolving, if you are someone who adopts that stuff as quickly as it is evolving, then you need a PS4 Pro and an Xbox One X.
Sure.
Because otherwise, what the fuck are you doing with all that high-definition TV bullshit?
Pixels.
Yeah. You are wasting your high definition.
Yep.
So in that regards, I'm also like, well, it's worth it. I have frustrations with it, but I also at the same time totally see the point of it and think it's whatever. It is what it is.
Let me take this particular question. Isn't there inherent value to bringing 4K gaming to the masses? I'm going to take a weird stance here. No. I've seen games running in 4K, and they look very good. However, the jump from 1080p to 4K is not as much of a jump as SD to HD.
Yeah.
Like SD to HD is like, it's a whole new world. Like, you're just like, fucking, what? I've never seen graphics this sharp before. What the shit? And they're on this giant TV. But I have a PS4 Pro plugged into a 1080p TV that is 10 years old. And I am not in a hurry to spend $800 on a 4K TV because it's not that much better. It goes back to a thing that we have that everybody has talked about for time, just time and time and time again. The question of, do better graphics make a game better? And my answer to that question is yes, but to a point. Like, Overwatch in 480p is still going to be a fun game.
Yeah.
Whereas if you take Need for Speed Rivals and put it in 4K, it's not a good game suddenly. It's not like, what?
Yeah.
And just because, remember how pissed off you and I were about that Mass Effect Andromeda, like, well, if you can't watch this on a 4K TV, pause it. Go to your friend's house who has a 4K TV, you plebe. Like, because your game isn't better just because it looks better. Now, there is an inherent value to, if you have a 4K TV, to having a box to go with it, right? And having an inexpensive box to go with it.
And I think, to your point, and this is also to kind of add to it.
Sure.
Is it worth it to bring this to the masses? It is if the ability to view that content is already with the masses.
Yes.
When it going from VHS to DVD, and the quality that DVD was better than VHS and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I'm talking about the PS2 here.
Right.
The PS2 coming out and having a DVD player came out at a time when the TVs were at the point where regular people would have TVs that were designed for DVD.
Right.
To be hooked up to a DVD player.
Sure.
But the problem was DVD players were too expensive.
Yeah.
So now you had an affordable thing that not only lets you play video games, but would let you play DVDs.
Yeah.
And here, I'm not going to go buy a 4K TV because they're too expensive.
Yeah.
Your average Joe is not going to. They're not. There's no need.
I looked at them one day, and I mean, it's like $400 or $500, and I'm not made of cash over here, and honestly, the games are fine. The games are fine in 1080p. We're still looking at, like, if you think about this year's Call of Duty game and what, like, the faces in that Call of Duty game look like, that's in 1080p. I just hooked up LA Noire on the Nintendo Switch to my TV, and that looks significantly worse. It's not terrible looking, but it's older looking. It's older tech, but it's all 1080p, right? So the difference between the way the faces look in the cutscenes of Call of Duty World War II and the way they look on PS3 LA Noire is all still rendered at 1080p. So let's say that the faces in LA Noire were rendered at 4K. It doesn't make it any better if it's still the engine of LA Noire. It was what I'm trying to get across. Yeah, if 4K was everywhere, if everybody had a 4K TV, but what you're asking, it's a chicken and egg problem, Eric. I'm going to buy a console that can do 4K, but then I have to buy a TV. Like, which do you buy first? Do you buy a TV that can do 4K? Presuming you can't just go to the store and plunk down $1,500 for a 4K TV and a 4K console. But which do you buy first? Do you buy a 4K TV without the ability to play games on it, or do you buy what I've done, which is a PlayStation Pro or an Xbox One X, and then, I don't know, maybe someday in the future I'll get a 4K TV. But I really just don't feel like I'm losing out on anything. The other thing is that it's one thing with the hardware refreshes to put out something where, like, when my console breaks down or in a couple years, I'll get this other version that's a little bit more streamlined, as opposed to, well, there is a bit of a graphical fidelity increase when I have two PS4s.
Yeah.
I bought a PS4 Pro because we do most of Rage Select on a PS4, and it looks a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I can imagine it being very frustrating if you're, you got an Xbox One, plays all the games fine, right?
Yeah.
Plays all the games just fine. What do I need an Xbox One X for? But it looks a little bit better.
The most I would probably, in all honesty, and I think Microsoft also kind of shot themselves in the foot, that if you don't have a 4K TV, the Xbox One S actually does have a little bit better hardware in it than the Xbox One, the regular Xbox One.
Oh, yeah.
And the Xbox One S can play 4K Blu-rays, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember. I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
It plays the games better than the Xbox One. They may not look exactly as good as on the Xbox One X,
right?
But they look good.
Yeah.
And it's infinitely cheaper. So it's like you're better off just getting an Xbox One S than buying an Xbox One X.
At the end of the day, to me, it's an academic question because it all comes down to games. And as I've said over and over and over again on this podcast, Microsoft needs fucking exclusives. We're just talking about it again. And
I also think it's a weird thing in that, to have such a hardware leap for the Xbox One X, but then now they're also tying it so that the graphics can't get too much better on the games because then they won't play on a regular Xbox One.
Right.
So developers, while they can make it look a little bit better, but it's like, some developer, I was reading something, the developer was saying that while the game will look better on the Xbox One X, it's not using anywhere near the full capabilities of the Xbox One X
because
they have to limit what the game can do to play on the Xbox One.
Because you don't want to burn the people who are already your loyal customers by being like, oh, you bought that 3 years ago. Well,
so basically the developer was saying, it's like, Microsoft made essentially a brand new console, but then limited it to the previous generation.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just not in a hurry to. This current generation.
I'm not in a hurry to turn my consoles into iPhones, where I get a new one every year.
Heat Signature was one of the best games I played this year. I didn't need any amount of Xbox for Heat Signature.
Dude,
Heat Signature is great.
I just started playing Wolverblade on the Switch, and it's a 2D side-scrolling beat 'em up. It's fucking great.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yep. Yep. Miro writes in and says, hey, Jeff and John, I have always been a PC gamer. My wife, too. Pretty casual these days. We play console style on the TV with Xbox 360 controllers. It's mostly split-screen Minecraft, Diablo 3, co-op indie games, and Game of the Year editions of AAA titles a few years behind the hype curve, and some old 90s stuff. For console exclusives, Mario, Crash, etc., SNES, Genesis, PSX emulators are good enough for us. But the PC is almost 6 years old, and it's showing. So here's a question. Should I spend 300 to 500 euros on an SSD and a faster graphics card, or on an Xbox One S/PS4 with extra controller with no online subscription? What do you suggest? You can consider this as an unofficial sequel to last week's question about which console to buy. Keep up the good work and don't stop raging. And that's from Miro. So let's just briefly go back down the thing that you're playing. Minecraft, Diablo 3, co-op indie games, Game of the Year editions of AAA games, and some old 90s stuff on emulators.
I just say buy a solid-state drive and a better video card and you're good.
I don't know. I always feel let down when I try the upgrade game on PCs, unless you're spending like $800 on your upgrades. Like, it's like, oh, I'm going to get a new video card. And you put it in and you're like, shit, my hard drive access is too slow for this new video card. God damn it, I need new RAM for this new hard drive that I've got. And it's like, fuck, the processor's not fast enough. And by the time you're done, it's like, you should just bought a new thing. I don't know. I say that you're probably split there. I mean, one of the nice things about an Xbox One or a PS4 is that they're literally made to sit on the couch instead of having to string Xbox 360 controllers through your living room or whatnot. You will find yourself with less flexibility. That's the trade-off, right? Is that if you buy an Xbox One or a PS4, you're going to be in that ecosystem. And although the Xbox and the PC have a little bit of crossover in their ecosystems, if it's a 6-year-old PC, I doubt it's running Windows 10, and most of that stuff happens in Windows 10 only. So I don't know. I'd say buy the new video card and then a Nintendo Switch, and then you can sit there with the two little controllers and play Mario Kart against each other on your coffee table, and you can still play a certain amount of things on your TV. I don't know. I mean, it's going back to the previous question. It is nice that with a console, I don't have to worry about. I've never had to worry about whether my console will play Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
It might not look quite as good as the PC version does, obviously, but I don't have to worry about putting the disc in and playing the video game, right?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest worry I have is, if I have to buy a new console, I lose access to all the previous consoles' games, like the generation of games. And some people are like, well, then just hook up both at the same time. And yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, depending on how far back you go with it, there comes a point where you're like, I don't have the space to hook up all those all at once, or the connectors.
Yeah.
So, I mean, having a PC that has everything all in it at once, and you can get new stuff and you can get old stuff via emulation or whatever it is you're planning on doing.
Right.
That's cool. That's beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. It's a trade-off. Yeah. I mean, you're trading off the simplicity of having to buy the hardware once and it being good until the next generation, but being good to play everything, or buying a PC that you will have to upgrade not just the video card but also the hard drive maybe, or the RAM or the processor or all that other stuff.
I mean, you get spyware on a PC,
spyware,
you get viruses, you get stuff like that. Like there's just random hardware breakage that's a lot. I feel like I see more frequent just random hardware failure on PC. I've been through 4 case fans on this system. I've never had to replace a case fan in a console before.
I had a fan burn out in a console once.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Okay. And it actually, I didn't know it, and it destroyed the console.
Oh. It'll do that.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, it depends on what you're willing to sacrifice.
Yeah.
The convenience of never having to upgrade your hardware for as long as the console's around versus maybe not having access to all the things that you want to play.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth taking into consideration the fact that, Minecraft, Diablo, stuff like that, you're going to have to rebuy all that, right, if you put it on the console. But I don't know. I enjoy having a console. I've largely gotten away from PC gaming outside of indie games just because...
Yeah, same here.
I wanted to buy Hitman and play it on the PC because I wanted to see if it looked better on my PC. It was one of those Steam games that has a 30 gig installation, and I've got a terabyte SSD that I run my games off of. I have to uninstall everything to get that game on my hard drive. And, I know the PC Master Race, but I mean, if you want to make a career out of it, yeah, the PC is better. But it's constant, maintenance and updates, and you got to install those new NVIDIA drivers. Oh, are these fucked up? I got to roll back to the last NVIDIA drivers. Oh, look, there's a new card coming out. I got to put is my sound card interrupting, my fucking optical drive bus or some bullshit? Or, why is this happening? Or, I can't count the number of PC games that I see downvotes on Steam of it's got capped frame rates and the developer didn't do a very good PC port because this was made for consoles. So
it was made by Warner Brothers.
Yeah. They're complaining about it for Hitman. Hitman apparently has very much it still has the tabs, but you have to hit. No, I was
just thinking about the fact that pretty much every major Warner Brothers game has had problems on
the PC. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. I feel like a PC is kind of like owning a classic car, right? If everything is working great, it's fucking fantastic. But you're going to need to put some fucking time into it. You're not just going to just buy it and then forget about it.
Yeah,
and that's what I like.
I will say, going back to the Switch comment, because you made the comment of buy a Switch or whatever. I will say, having had a Switch for about 2-3 weeks now, 4 weeks, about a month, maybe. I don't know for sure. Yeah, October 29th. But having it for 2-3 weeks now, I fucking love that thing. I mostly play it docked in the cradle on my TV, but then there's also something to say that sometimes I'll wake up super early in the morning on my weekends, and I want to stay in bed, but I don't want to go in the living room outside. So I'll just get up immediately because I got to use the restroom or whatever, and then I'll walk in the living room and just grab my Switch and bring it in the bedroom and turn the volume down and just go back lying in bed, and that way it doesn't bother Amanda or the dog, and just sit there and play video games until they wake up, and then and then it's like, oh, okay, we're all ready to get up. Because my problem is when I wake up early in the morning, I'm awake. Yeah. Like it doesn't matter if I woke up because the dog decided to get on the bed and accidentally woke me up, or I had a bad dream or I had to pee or whatever. If I'm up, I'm up. So it's there's something to be said that I can just have that with me and carry it around and thing. Anyways.
Yeah. I am enjoying it as well. In fact I got LA Noire for it, and I might just play through LA Noire like in my spare time for a few. Also, they put Hulu on it finally. So.
Yeah.
All right. I think we got time for maybe one more question. Let's
Sorry to all those people that didn't get their questions answered, because both Jeff and I are little chatty Cathys.
Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to figure out one of these. Let's see. Okay, this is a good one. Sam C writes in and says, Dear Jeff and John, around the time you're reading this, me and a whole bunch of my friends will have gotten to play video games in a movie theater for one evening, all in the good name of raising money for charity and also to have a bit of fun. My question to you is this. If you were ever allowed to use an entire movie theater, let's say it's an IMAX one, for one whole day, which one game do you pick to spend it with? To make it even more spectacular, you can pick out on whatever food you want to bring with you, and you're welcome to have friends to join you in the experience. Thanks once again for everything that you guys do. Sam C. from the UK.
So first of all, I have a projector at home, so I get to play on a big screen as it is. Maybe not a theater-sized screen, but it's a pretty big screen.
Yeah,
it's an entire wall. But I have actually played video games in a movie theater before.
Yep.
When I worked at Blizzard, they actually, as a hey, thank your team for doing really awesome, they paid. We got the choice of we got to go to a theater and we could choose between watching two shitty movies that had been out for God knows how long that none of us wanted to see.
Sure.
Or we could play a video game.
Okay.
In the theater. We could play video games in the theater. And now, mind you, for that, I think we ended up playing like Rock Band and a couple of other games, like multiplayer games. I think we also played something. But it was great. It's fucking great experience. Okay. Like it's giant fucking TV. You play whatever. But if I had to choose one game, and I was the only one playing it, meaning that it's just me and like maybe there's other people watching, but it's just me playing the game. I'm not playing multiplayer. I'm not playing against other people. It's just me by myself.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good choice. I don't know.
You may expect me to say something.
I'm gonna expect you to say like Bloodborne, but I
No. If I was going to play a game in a movie theater, I would like to play a game that had good cinematic elements that I can beat in 8 to 12 hours.
Oh, you want to play Until Dawn?
What's that?
You want to play Until Dawn?
That's not a bad decision. I was actually thinking, I can't remember how long it takes to beat Snake Eater, but I think it's a little bit longer than that. But like that's all the cutscenes like in a Hideo Kojima game. That's where you want them, is up on a big screen, right? Like you want all that melodrama with Snake and company, or like maybe an Uncharted game, but those tend to be a little bit more than 8 hours. Yeah. Those tend to be more like 14. But like if I get Uncharted 2, I think Uncharted 2 might be a really good one because that one's got so many cool like oh shit moments in it.
Yeah,
it's got a great story. It's got all the love interest. So like the HD collection, Uncharted 2 would be
would be a really good one.
A choice.
Would you do a David Cage game?
Oh, fuck no. Fuck you, John. You know the answer to these questions. Something, Resident Evil 7 might be a good solution because it's got all that. It's like watching a horror movie, right? Except you're watching it on the screen. Not to get too cliche about Jeff stuff, but Doom might be really fun to watch all those glory kills happen on a giant fucking big screen. Just squickety squick. I don't think I would choose Dark Souls because Dark Souls is a mechanic game, right? Yeah. It's just about running. It doesn't have that spectacle to it.
Okay,
so watch it on the movie screen because I was also thinking like Overwatch, but I don't think I'd want to play Overwatch on a big screen. I'd want to watch all the Overwatch shorts on a big screen.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Yeah, I wouldn't want to play any of the WWE games because I don't think they look good enough.
Yeah,
to worth. But having said that, I'd probably also like if you were to tell me to choose like an old game, I'd probably choose something like Eternal Darkness or
You really want to see Eternal Darkness's pixels blown up that large?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I don't care. Like that, or fucking like Dead Space or Dead Space 2, or trying to think of other games that are on my mind. Like I said, actually, Until Dawn's a good choice. I actually would choose Heavy Rain, as opposed to any of the other David Cage crap fests.
Okay.
Heavy Rain would probably be one that I wouldn't mind doing, even with all its faults.
You know what would be a good one? If you had a shorter amount of time, that I think would be kind of fun. It would be Modern Warfare, because that's a very cinematic game. Like all the missions,
Modern Warfare 1 or 2,
and a lot of bombastic stuff, like with that first helicopter,
the story mode,
storming the boat, or the sniper one, whatever, I forget the name of that mission, or like at the very end with the
probably also do like Brutal Legend. That'd be a good one to have on. I'm
trying to think of stuff that I could beat in 6 to 8 hours.
Oh, I know. I'm just trying to name stuff that I would probably just want to play on a bigger screen than I already do.
I mean, I played Skyrim on the big screen.
Yeah, you did get to play Skyrim on the big. That's right, you did. I was there. I was handling the projector for that.
Yeah.
I got to watch that from the projection booth.
I killed a dog, you guys. I didn't mean to do that. I was just like, I had the audience, and then they were just like, boo. I was like, I didn't mean to, man. I didn't mean to. Aw. I'm just looking at a list of...
Max Payne 2.
Max Payne 2? That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I'd probably do Max Payne 2. That'd be a good one. Or John Woo Stranglehold.
Oh God! I just saw in the comment section for this particular list. Can you imagine playing Mirror's Edge on an IMAX screen?
No. Oh God.
Well, in front of an audience,
no.
Eating nacho cheese chili Doritos. Oy.
No.
Also, as for food, I think John and I both appreciate the sentiment, but neither one of us are eat and play at the same time.
Yeah,
right?
I can't eat and play at the same time, but.
Yeah.
If you were to ask me to pick a food to take a break and eat, there's again, I've talked about it before on the show. It's what my friends lovingly call the John Special.
Gamer Grub.
The 8-ounce queso from a bunch of queso from Taco Cabana, a bunch of flour tortillas from Taco Cabana, and a bunch of chicken fries from Burger King. Just a ton of that shit. Yeah. And just let me just gorge. Fucking give me like a Taco Cabana queso fountain.
God damn it, I just had one in my head, John. I just forgot it. Fuck. I just had one that was great for... turn me from this list.
Did the queso fountain throw you off?
Yes. Not eating, playing games, stop. Nope.
Though, if you're going to play with a group of friends, I would say Rock Band 4. Rock Band would actually be a really good one
on a big screen.
On a big screen, yeah, because it was fun. I actually had a lot of fun with that because it's big enough that everyone can see the screen. You don't have to worry about placement. You can also move around a little bit in the theater if you wanted to put on a little bit of theatrics with your movements. But
damn it, I just can't. I had a good one and I lost it.
You had it and you lost it.
I had it and I lost it. Well, I guess we're just going out on a this week. It was so good too. Fuck. Nope. Okay, done. Dunzo. You got any more? I think that's about all I got. Last of Us would be kind of fun on a big screen.
I guess it's a cinematic again. It's another cinematic one.
Yeah.
Mass Effect 2 would probably be a good one.
Yeah.
Probably, even though it's it'd be too long for it, Red Dead Redemption or
yeah, I mean any of the Rockstar, GTA 5,
GTA 5,
would be fine.
Yeah, even GTA Online probably would also be fun.
You know what would actually be kind of fun? I know I've mentioned it a bunch of times because I just got done playing it, but would it be kind of fun to if you had a theater that was full of all of your friends to play LA Noire and then let people yell out where they're like, bad cop, or yelling out for what they want you to do on screen.
I'd just be in the background and be the guy yelling, Wolf Cop!
Wolf Cop! Put on Wolf Cop! God damn it! All right, that's it. We're way over time, so thanks everybody for watching. Mail at RageSelect.com is the email address. If we didn't answer your question, send it in again because I had to cut about 4 of them because we just too much Battlefront 2. No, I was just jib-jabbing on and on and on.
I also jib-jabbed.
Yeah, that's true. So thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you next week and have a great time.